All right. We are here with some Warpstone Cup action, guys. Glad to see you're here. Glad to see. Welcome back to the fray. This is qualifier number 3 of our Warpstone Cups. Is this right? Am I right here right now? Is this right? My lighting is really weird today. It's raining here in Southern California, which is very uncommon for us. And so the room is way darker than it usually is, so I apologize about that. So yeah, we had a lot of mix rounds here today. It was supposed to be Amovehacker, but instead Rightist is subbing in for him. Amove couldn't make it or whatever. He didn't show up just quite yet. So we'll get him in the next week's match. Now today we're gonna have Xiphos versus Rightist as our first match. This is a best of 3, followed by Riggsen versus Reym, again a best of 3. These will then culminate in a finals match, which is a best of 5 between the winners of the 2 previous matches. It's raining as fuck there in Denmark. I'm not surprised at all, Dr. Z. Man, what a this was a clusterfuck this morning. I was trying to get this all set up, then I got sitting down, and I put my shirt on, and the shirt would bleed green into it. I'm like, why is this happening? It's a blue shirt. Oh, what a fucking shit show today, guys. We got a lot of fun here. Ready? Fun here planned for you. As always, this is the Shetland Apache tournament rules, the same rules that we run with the Everchosen or any number of events that Turin or myself have run. We use just the same standard rules. With an additional rule that there is a 3-minute timer after every match to set up your new faction. There is a little bit of a cheat time while I talk about the post-battle report of what the 2 factions, how they kind of handled things. But you have 3 minutes to choose your faction after the game ends. I'm just taking a look here, making sure everyone's all set. 3 minutes starts now. So they're choosing their armies, and we're over here having some fun. We have quite a few maps here ready for you guys. If you look down in the description, you can see them all. We have Xuahua Lake, Langui, and Troll Country for our round 1 matches. Then for our best of 5, we have Oakenhammer, Altdorf Outskirts, Red Desert, Warpstone Mine, and multiplayer Crossroads. Let me know how everything sounds. I'm trying some different things here today. How does that look better? More shadowy now? I can't tell. It's like when you're in studio mode on OBS, everything is like this small, so it's hard to tell if I just helped out or didn't at all. I have these really cool 2 small LED lights, and they kind of bump light around for me. Kind of filling a little bit. That was a bit of a fill light. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my god. I just saw on stream what you guys saw when I did that. Holy shit, I'm fucking hilarious. Duncan is here, and we are good to go for our very first match. Let's get it going. Am I going to do more end time videos? No, I absolutely am. I'm working on the end times video for the Empire now. And just to kind of recap here the previous weeks, Aristodemos won our very first week, Hadri's won the second, so we'll see who takes away a warp token this week. Of course, those warp tokens will then be put towards the individual, or I'm sorry, towards our finals. Everyone with a warp token will be playing in a best of 4. Turn will drive up here, and he'll co-host it with me just like I did for his Eternal Challenger League. So it'll be a lot of fun to be had for friend and family. How the Chariot's treating you? Dragon Overlord, when you wake up, do you just fuck yourself, man? Will you eat is that what is that? Is it corn on the cob? Is that a French fry on stream to show your love for ODM? What is that? Wicked, what is that? Is that a fucking corn? How does one compete in the league? You get a hold of here, I'm going to actually put a invite link to the Discord. And it's a baguette. There's an emoji for baguettes. No, I will most certainly not eat a baguette for you, you French swine. Although I will say, hey, I really appreciate your whole help with the whole Revolutionary War thing. We have a country because of you guys. But You can fuck off with your baguettes. It's too hard. It's too hard for me. Yeah, if you want to join in, go ahead and join that Discord. We always kind of post in that Discord Turn and I saying like, hey, who wants to be in a fight? So check out this sick ass book I got from Games Workshop. It cost me $30, which is, you know, in true Games Workshop fashion, not surprising, but it's pretty cool. You know, win or lose, Horus has damned us all. Mankind will share in his ignorance until the last man or woman draws the species' last breath. Like, I mean, yeah, over the top, whatever. It looks really sick. Looks really cool. It's reusable, so I can put different notebooks in here over time. That was the big thing I looked at. I was like, oh, okay, it's a $30 like notebook condom. I'm cool with that. Hot book of sex. We'll wait for our two factions to get all like lined up here. Yeah, you see that, Dark? I can insult the French as long as I always make sure to thank them for creating our country. That whole like naval blockade you did of Britain really put things on point. Also appreciate those guns you sent us, and the Marquis was a pretty cool guy. Guys, I've been working on average price for a Games Workshop book. The match is going, fat ass. It's not. They're setting up right now. I haven't set up to it yet. We're just waiting for that to them to set up their armies. Then I'm gonna kick over, like right now. Okay, so we can see here that Xiphos is on playing the High Elves versus Jesus Christ, Rightist on the Dwarfs. So we'll see how this plays out. You know, the War of Vengeance 2.0 or 3.0 kicking off here. A nice front line of White Lines of Trace, which is a really good option against Dwarfs, because they're 800 points. They have access to AP, and they have really strong armor at 90 for 800 points. So they really kind of get the job done. So it looks like we just have the normal. Oh Jesus, what the hell? The camera just swung around. Normal White Lines of Trace, no pure main company, nothing like that. We have some chariot play, which is also really great here. Looks like we are going to see 2 units of actual chariots with 2 nobles on chariots. Now, this is going to be pretty deadly if Xiphos can really manage these properly. The anti-infantry and the AP of a noble on a chariot is massive. Now, considering, of course, when you take a look at a normal chariot, you're going to get that AP characteristic. A much smaller weapon strength, of course, but you have 3 entities versus the single one of a noble. Now, as far as our lords go, we're going to have the Lady Arlariel upon her Doom Pigeon, and these things are great because she's going to be pouring a ton of healing into the opponent, into her current faction. Star Baverlorn is a great choice, along with Earthblood and then False Protection, the usual kind of kit that we see for Arlariel. And on top of that, we have a Great Eagle to do some harassment, maybe even mob down a lord. Now, taking a look at Rightist's army, I keep wanting to say Amovehacker because I was like in my brain for that. We have a front line of miners with blasting charges, which is a good, nice little front line installation. They will do quite a bit of damage to those white lines when they get close. In addition to that, they will absorb damage because they can do AP damage, while not as heavy as, of course, some of the bigger, heavier hitting AP units in the faction. These guys are nothing to scoff at. I think they're, what, like 425 points for one of them, so they get the job done for what they do. I apologize, guys. I'm having a little bit of a chest congestion. But as we move through the rest of the dwarf line, and you can see it is in the typical dwarf layers that we always talk about. We have a secondary line of dwarf warriors, preceded, of course, by some thunderers, some Uthar's Raiders, which will really help down to focus down Alariel. You can see Uthar's Raiders, they do have their AP characteristics there. Look at them. Look at those little stout bastards. Now, on top of it, too, they have... There it is, marked by Ulthar, which is a massive reduction to missile parry, missile resistance, and to armor. And Alariel doesn't have a high armor to begin with, so this is going to be a very, very good way to burst her down. They are supported with even more Thunderers in the secondary line, or I'm sorry, the tertiary line, and a unit of cannons, or a unit of cannons in the very back, with Dwarf Warriors supporting those, and Dragonback Slayers on the flanks to kind of secure things. So in total, they're looking at 4 units of Thunderers, 5 units of Thunderers with the Ulthar's Raiders. This is going to be pretty hot and heavy. We're also going to be seeing a nice Rune Lord, which is a good, cheap, effective way to get a good Lord onto the battlefield that can also buff the faction. All right, I've given them the go-ahead, and they are off to the races here. It's going to be interesting here. Those chariots are they have their work cut out for them. Those chariots are going to have to get into that Thunderer line as fast as possible and do some damage. If they don't, they're going to get bogged down. They're going to get destroyed by those Thunderers, and smack my keyboard. And it's going to really, really be bad for them. So let's see how this kind of plays out here. Can you guys hear the game all right? Everything sound good? Let me turn up the desktop audio a ton. Let me know if you can hear it reverberating back. What I'm doing is I'm playing it through my speakers, so I can hear it a little bit without it hopefully reverberating through the mic, and you guys can hear it in the game. So let me know if I need to turn up the game volume. And looks like we're getting a little shift here from Rightist as he kind of adapts to the amount of chariots coming his way. Got the Great Eagle kind of prodding around here on the left flank. Alariel kind of getting deep in there too, and that's kind of a risky move there. But getting a first big charge with that Great Eagle into those Thunderers. Alariel too. Oh no, that is not good. Alariel is just getting focused hard. I do not think that he saw the Ulthar's Raiders here. Oh no, marked by Ulthar, Master Wrath of Ruin. Oh no! Look at that. Xiphos did drop Star of Avalon on there, but she is just getting hit so hard. Alariel might get popped in the first, what, like 30 seconds of this match. Man, that was rough. You can see these White Lions going in for their big charge here against those Dwarf Miners here. Oh, supported by the Noble there, just pushing through. Oh, Alariel goes down. Holy shit. You can see the, but maybe that was a big play by Xiphos just to get some initial engagement done so that he could then push through with those chariots, get on that back line. He's already up in that juicy center there with his chariots going right through those Thunderers. You can see those Miners blasting charges ripping through those White Lions with chariots, but they're maintaining pretty well here. But we do see this Great Eagle being focused by the Dragonback Slayers as well as 2 units or a unit of Dwarf Warriors. But man, that was a pretty hot and heavy initial shot there. So Alariel being gone is going to completely shut down the Winds of Magic usage for the High Elves here. Let's take a look at this battlefield here from the Dwarf perspective. We can see on this right flank, there's some Eagle action going on over there, and there's Eagle action going on over there, but it is now popped and is fleeing. And you can see that the chariots are roving through the Warriors and the Slayers on the left side. We now see this Noble is just careening through each and every unit of Thunderers, not staying too focused, not trying to stay too long into one fight, pushing on to the next one. The center fight, for the most part, though, is going to the High Elves. The White Lions of Trace are moving up the front line. They have shut down both of these units of Miners, and we can see on the right flank that is the same thing as well. Now, this is great here, right? You did lose Alariel, but you are pretty handedly winning that frontline battle. And if you have the Thunderers constantly occupied with knocking out these chariots, your front line can really get up close and personal and do quite a bit of damage. And in addition to that, those Dwarf Warriors are met with the White Lions of Trace. The White Lions of Trace will trade pretty well into those Dwarf Warriors, but the problem is that they now don't have a nice healing battery from Alariel. So it's really going to be a game of movement at this point. And that Everqueen just got gunned down, dude. I live in California. I live in the United States, and that was too vicious of a gunning. The Thunderers are having a hard time really kind of staying in the fight here, as the chariots are just kind of ripping through them non-stop. You can see that the cannon hasn't had a chance to really get too much. Oh, it has. It's gotten 5 kills out. 5 kills. I read the wrong one. So it's really having a hard time focusing on these. Oh, a brutal charge of that Noble through that whole entire column of Dwarf Warriors. We can see here Dwarf Warriors being supported even more, or I'm sorry, being hammered even more by this Ilfamar chariot. Get some look across the battlefield. The Ulthar's Raiders are now in it with the White Lions of Trace. A Noble crashing through them. Woo! Hot and heavy through all these guys. I mean, it's really going interestingly. The balance of power is pretty balanced here. A lot of the backline firepower has been pretty well neutralized by the High Elves. There are still some Thunderers going off hot and heavy here, but you can really see that those chariots, while being pretty beat up, have really got the job done of neutralizing the majority of that range fire. But, like we were saying, those White Lions of Trace no longer have some heals. Oh, Xiphos! Get these back in the fray! Those White Lions of Trace don't really have a way to maintain long-term durability because of their lack of heals right now. So really it's going to be a war of attrition as they try to get as many of this range firepower down as much as possible while trying to weather the storm of bullets. They have gotten into this cannon, knocking out a huge threat to any large target staying in the cannon's firing arc, but we can see how things are starting to progress for them. White Lions are actually kind of losing that fight right now. Dude, it's just too fast, too furious with these Tokyo drifting Ithilmar chariots. I mean, Dom would be stoked on this right now. I didn't knock on nobody! Just ripping through the dwarf warriors here, and it's easy to do, right? Dwarf, what, they're right about your hip level. I mean, you could thrust your hip hard enough and just poke a dwarf's eye out with your penis inadvertently, man. Balance of power is still pretty even here, though, but I think once we lose one, if not both of these nobles, we'll see the balance of power shift pretty radically towards the dwarfs. In fact, I think one of the nobles is already out of the game. Guys, Evan's here, my brother. Everyone mention Evan Seckham in chat and say, hey, ItalianSpartacus' brother. Oh man, look at this. Look at this massive horde of shirtless dwarves running downhill and then just saying, nah, never mind. And look at this, just big ol' like white lions versus dwarf warriors going off here. And as Major Mullah just mentioned in the chat, very, very good, astute point here. As soon as martial prowess starts to fade off, so when your unit of white lions gets below 30% health, they lose, or 50% health, they lose access to this little ditty, of course. They're a huge buff to melee defense, and well, not huge, but a sizable buff to melee defense and melee attack. So once these units in the back there that are fading don't have this buff anymore, but this nice fat full-size unit, well, almost full-size unit, does have this buff, so they're going to be able to mulch through these a little bit easier. We still see some Ithilmar chariots here. If we can get those white lions of trace into those dwarf warriors, it's going to be, or I'm sorry, dwarf slayers, it's going to be a bit of a better situation. But still a full health rune lord. It can cast plenty of runes here. I've seen quite a few of those that actually kicked off, so I think there's still quite a bit of defense coming in from that rune lord. But we can see that the balance of power is actually starting to shift towards the high elves, or I'm sorry, towards the dwarfs. Yeah, towards the dwarfs as I look at it. Let's look at that. Being sandwiched now between two units of white lions of trace, these dwarf slayers are really going to be in it to win it. Dwarf slayers are no slouches in close combat, so I think that the white lions are a little bit outmatched, but they do have the benefit of plenty of Ithilmar chariots roving around the backfield here. You can see them ripping through the... Looks like this is just a normal Ithilmar chariot squaring off against the Rune Lord. He is just goddamn angry, if you can't tell. Look at him just punching his way through stuff. Yep, as you can see, white lions are just really not faring too well. But as soon as these Dragonback Slayers really get dealt with, which is going to be difficult because they're going to be able to deal quite a bit of damage to this noble, it's going to really balance things out here. These units really can't sustain a concerted effort. At the same time, the high elves don't have much to field at this point. I mean, that Rune Lord being completely healthy is a huge thing. Sure, yeah, the noble could do a lot of damage to the Rune Lord if it weren't completely healthy and it weren't completely beat to crap and it had some heals, but this might be a situation here where that early death was, of course, huge for the high elves. Anytime you see that their lord get gunned down quickly, almost in the same way that you see it for the vampire counts. You lose your lord for vampire counts, you lose a huge portion of what makes your army strong. And the high elves really rely on that ability to cast a lot of spells, to get a lot of healing out. That's really what makes Alarielle so strong and competitive, is her ability to non-stop heal her faction. So this has been a real hard-fought fight for Xiphos here, staying in it as best he can. He's got units coming back and forth, some Great Eagles with just scraps of health left, looking to see if they can peck the eyes out of any willing dwarf willing to stay in within talon reach here. Trying to just kind of wear things out, get us some good charges on here. Rightist is trying to pull Xiphos away, then charge back into him. Pull him away, then get back into him. The White Lions of Trace are exhausted, and their current speed is 22 versus the ooh, that's a chariot. Whoopsies. There we go. Versus the speed of 40 of these Dragonback Slayers. I'm sorry, 32, not 22. So the Slayers can outrun them just a bit, then turn around and get a good charge in. They have broken some units over here, leaving just this pocket of Slayers, which are unbreakable, and the Rune Lord to see what can happen here. The balance of power has shifted back to a 50-50, if not a 45 by 55. Oh, and then just push back again to like 60 by 40. 60 to 40. Any kind of charges in that they can, cycle charging into these dwarfs. Whatever kind of additional damage the chariots can do. You have the Great Eagle kind of coming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. our noble is really going to probably be the hero of the day here. He's got anti-infantry, he's got a massive amount of weapon strength, and he's got AP. You're dealing with a lot of armor, 120 armor on that Rune Lord. So he's the only one that's going to be able to really threaten that Rune Lord of what's left in this little pocket here. But we can see one unit of Slayers has been dealt with. The other one is down to its last single model, and that Rune Lord is surrounded by a couple White Lions of Trace, an Eagle that is just completely crazy and patriotic right now, and this Lord. And Noble can... Oh, man, I think it's going to happen. I think Xiphos can pull it off here. Oh, army loss is kicking in. Our Dwarf Rune Lord is starting to buckle here, and there it is. Xiphos pulls it out. Whew! Man... That was insane. Oh, screen call. Thank you, Google Phone. Holy shit. Oh, man. Hold on. For some reason, the browser isn't activated. Let's scroll up here. I just saw your donation. Matt Smith, thank you very much. Hey, can't stick around because I am work, but just want to show my support for your great hosting. Well, Matt, thank you very much for watching in, man. Hopefully you have a good day at work and it doesn't make you too crazy. And if you don't like it, you could always just fucking quit and start a YouTube channel. Well, let's take a look at this post-battle report here. Xiphos just barely holds it together there at the very end, clutching that win away from Rightist. Rightist had a really strong initial play, shutting down Alariel and getting that really good damage out from the initial game. I'm not sure what Xiphos' play was. I think it was maybe to get that initial shock in with the Eagles and with Alariel to distract away from the chariots roving through his flanks, and that really did kind of work for him, I think. But I think in the long run, it just really came down to the concerted effort of Xiphos' constant cav play and really good counterplay with those White Lion charges. 163, 30, 133, 117, 118. That's a lot of kills for a pretty dense armored army like the Dwarfs. And man, look at those nobles. 173. That guy was just the hero of the day. Definitely the Metallica's hero of the day. Woo! Oh man, that's a good first match there. Let's take a look here at our next one kicking off. We'll change the map and everything. 3 minutes has begun. So they have 3 minutes now to choose their faction. And I will set up the scoreboard. Left scoreboard. It is Xiphos. It is now up 1. And we have to change the map to Liangui. There we go. We're all set here for our next match. I'm about to sneeze, and I know it's one of those sneezes that's going to rock my fucking body. Ugh. Man, that was awesome, guys. Whew. Woo! Uh-oh. That sneeze is like right there. It's like, They're doing some banning. The way that you pick is typically down to gentlemen's. So they will choose what they want. But it looks like Xiphos and Rightist are doing a banning system just to kind of make things a little bit more fair for them. Oh man. Looks like Xiphos will be playing the Empire and Rightist will be on the Tomb Kings here today, guys. So our next match will take place on Liangui. God, there is so much French going on in this chat right now that I don't know what the fuck is going on. Someone better sign a second. All right, let's go. Let's call it up. Let's go to a Philadelphia courthouse. Let's get completely trashed, ass naked, right up the Declaration of Independence, and secede. Let's just make it happen here. Tomb Kings. Oh, actually, Xiphos is switching on over to Chaos. Okay, so Xiphos on Chaos, Rightist on the Tomb Kings. So we see a lot of fun things going on here, right? There are a lot of big creatures that Chaos can field, and just in the same way, there are a lot of big constructs that Tomb Kings can field. So I think really the name of the game for the Tomb Kings is going to be fielding a lot of the Ushabti Grapos, Chosen of the Gods for sure, trying to focus down any of the larger creatures that Chaos can field. At the same time, though, if Chaos were to go with a just straight infantry line, the big threat here is going to be a lot of answered by a lot of Ushabti and constructs like Tomb Scorpions, stuff like that, as well as the Oh man, I can't think of the Necrosphinx. There we go. There we go. Necrosphinx, that'll help knock down any larger chaos targets as well. This should be a pretty fun matchup here. Two very fun armies, two very crazy armies with a lot of different approaches to fighting one another. So we'll see what happens. I got low-key PTSD from seeing all those goddamn chariots, guys. I'm not even gonna fucking lie right now. Add this browser. Perfect. Risidemos, you don't get to know, bro. If you don't know, you don't get to know. Yeah, that Necrosphinx Regiment Renown, it does fire damage and AP and magic damage. I think it's just awesome. Hey Joel, thanks for joining in, man. First time on the stream. Well, welcome aboard. Love your head-to-head campaigns, man. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy them. They've got 1 more minute. Bring back the Tormentor Sword. Dude, Professor Pipes, I totally feel you on that one, man. Tormentor Sword was so strong for the dwarfs, but not in an imbalanced way, in like a total, like, necessary way. I've played Endless Legends. I have played Endless Legends. Tormentor Axe, I like that way more. Tormentor Axe versus a Tormentor Sword. Do you think we'll get another race pack? What do you mean, Noah? Oh, wait a minute. Aristodemos wasn't even a subscriber, and he won the very first one. What the fuck, man? You know what? I don't take back any of my previous French comments now, man. Now I drive them home harder. That's just rude. All right, so we're loading in here. Again, we're going to see Chaos for Xiphos and Rightists. Tomb Kings squaring off on Liangui. We're going to see how that goes off here. This is the second match of our best of 3 here. This is really for Xiphos to clinch it and push on to the finals. This is a chance for Rightist to stay in the match. A new race or army like Vampire Coast. Do I think we'll see that? I honestly don't think so. The only other faction I could see them adding is Araby. The Southern Realms is a big one people want, like Dogs of War and stuff like that. While I think that would be fun, I think that Killian and Estalia, if they added it in, it would have to come way later. I don't think it would come like anytime soon. I think with our next Lord pack, they'll probably start to work on other stuff. I think another race pack might be a little too soon. Yeah, guys, make sure you're pressing that like button. It's huge for any YouTuber. It really helps us out. So make sure you're slapping that like. Guys, my beta sheets are on the way. We're just waiting for everyone to kind of get loaded in here and set up. Reading the Dwarf Omnibus. It would be cool if they made the dwarfs do magic like they do in the book. It's not like real magic. It's a little bit different. Oh, sorry, man. Or sorry, guys. Ooh. All right. The armies are getting set up here, and we'll get everything looked at. So there are some things that Creative Assembly cannot develop into, because Games Workshop has told them, hey, that's not something that we want to be remembered for. And not so much that Araby is one of those things, but very early Games Workshop was very reminiscent of just simply copying history. And there are a lot of tropes and stereotypes built into the Araby roster that Games Workshop's not too proud of. And I think that if Creative Assembly were to take Araby and create it as its own faction, they'd kind of have to skirt away from the typical trope that was created with the War Master version of the Arabian army list, which is like very heavily like, okay, you've got like genies and with like flying carpets. It straight up looks like you're playing an Aladdin faction. It's really kind of bad. But there are cool things like Janissaries and stuff that is very like historically accurate and also a really cool nod at the same time. All right, so it looks like we're both armies are set up here. Let's go over them and take a look-see. So for Chaos, we have a fat front line. It looks like we can see plenty of Chaos Warriors. We have the Mirror Guard. Oh, no, we do not. Those are Marauders. I completely fucked that one up. So 2 units, 1 unit of Warriors in the front here, with backline units of Warriors with great weapons supporting them. Marauders out on the flanks with a unit of Aspiring Champions to help out with that leadership. As we all know, let's take a look at you big fucking badasses. Look, these guys do have their, there it is, Encourage, which does provide a leadership aura around them. Unfortunately, we can't see that leadership aura. Oh, there it is. Boop, right here. It matches, of course, our Lord's leadership aura. And it looks like we have Archaon here on his favorite horse. And he has got Fireball, Cascading Fire Cloak, and then the Burning Head for some fun play against the Tomb Kings. Burning Head is going to be very strong. Also took Slayer of Kings. He does have Frenzy built into him. Unbreakable, all sorts of great stuff. Now, with those great weapons, there's going to be a lot of threat to anything that's got heavy armor in the Tomb Kings line. In addition to that, we have two Dragon Ogre Shaggoths and the Gore Beast Chariot. The Al Gore Beast Chariot is not too common nowadays, so it's really fun to see these guys added here, because they have really great AP. They have a lot of great anti-infantry. So I think the big focus for these guys is just going to be mulching through a lot of those boner daddies. Now, taking a look across the line here, we can see a lot of Tomb Guards with halberds. Now, these are some of the best AP units that the Tomb Guards, or I'm sorry, the Tomb Kings can field. They have really great range defense, which is not going to be a big factor here. They have decent armor for Tomb Kings, but they have a great anti-large and AP characteristics. That's the real winner here of the day here. Now, in addition to that, we have the Shopti with Great Bow here and here. Looks like no Regiment of Renown variation thus of. We have a Lich Priest of Light for some Net of Amontok play. And then also Setra the Imperishable on his Doom Pussy, ready to just slap that ass, and a Tomb Scorpion. Now, in addition to that, we have a huge fleet of Skeleton Spearmen supported with a unit of Skeleton Warriors. All right, so let's take a look how this goes. There is quite a bit going on here, right? We see a lot of front line that can really contest the Chaos front line. And we see a lot of constructs here that are really going to be able to rip through that front line. There's not a lot of anti-large being fielded by Xiphos' army. So I think Rightist is in a really strong position here. Fireball coming in here hot on Setra probably. Boom, hits him dead on. And you can, I don't think it actually, yeah, there it is. So, oh, doesn't show. So Setra actually will be suffering from a reduction to his fire resistance as a result from the fireball. In addition to that, he is already apt to light on fire. And you can see here that Rightist took the opportunity to focus down on these Aspiring Champions, which is probably a pretty good call. They do only have a bronze defense, and the focus here is to knock out that pinion of leadership that they provide. Also, looks like he's transitioning off into these Chaos Warriors with great weapons here, doing some significant damage to them. Moving his Archaon over to the side. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that in the background. Someone's out in the fucking driveway being an asshole. Shaggoth shucking and jiving his way through those great bow shots. And the nice thing about Ushabti is they are quite quick on their feet. They have been nerfed in some of the more previous patches, but they do have 54 speed, so they can kind of leg it through their boner bros and get into that back line a little bit easier than other ranged units can. right? Things are kind of moving around in circles, trying to get a good surround on things. Tomb Guard with Halberd have kind of pushed out of ranks here. Our first charge is going to happen. Skeleton Spearmen into these Marauders. You can see the Tomb Scorpion, though, is ready just to rip through. Plenty of Chaos Warriors. The Doom Pussy looking to lash his tail through everything. Got a Net of Amontok going right down onto Archaon. Probably going to get focus fired here pretty soon by some of those Great Bows, or just get stuff moved around in a better situation. The Blessing of Blade of Petra has kicked off on Cetra here as well, giving him some nice fire damage. Oh no! Screaming, or Flaming Skull going down the line, ripping through some of these Tomb Guards with Halberd. Now, the Tomb Guard can actually hit this, or fare through this a little bit better than their normal skeleton counterparts, because the skeleton counterparts only have 10 armor. That 50 armor does help to absorb the damage a little bit here. Now, a full surround is being happened here on the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. You have the Tomb Scorpion in on this, you've got some Spearmen in on this, and you're going to have some Halberds jumping in as well. Archaon is in the fray as well, along with the other Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. It is an all-in clusterfuck here in this dead center match here. You can see the yellow aura kicking off. That's Tomb of, or that's the Souls, Well of Souls kicking off. That is the map-wide heal and resurrection for the Tomb Kings. Shaggoth pushing out of that conflict. The Shoptooth Greatbow need to kind of get in a better position, a better firing line. They're really just kind of running around the back line here, and Xiphos is really able to push in a lot of damage. Oh no! Look into that. Shaggoth is just running away. Now Archaon is in a bad place. He is completely surrounded. 2 constructs on him. Getting his other Shaggoth in here to hopefully try and screen that charge out is what it looks like. Net of Amontok on this Shaggoth, pinning Archaon in here amongst the construct. Oh man. Another Flaming Skull, it looks like, coming out here. This is going to be a pretty big one. It's going to rip right through this whole unit. Did a ton of damage to those Spearmen. Knocked out about a quarter health off these Halberds. So was able to do quite a bit of damage here. But you can still see that Shaggoth is in bad shape. Looking at that backline, the Gorebeast Chariot is pushing through, getting mucked up here on some skeleton, or both Ushapti Greatbows and the Skeletons, using their mass to kind of help pin it in place. You can see the rest of the front line, though, is doing pretty well against the Tomb Kings, as to be expected. But if Archaon is crumples here, then Xiphos will be in bad shape. Both of his Shaggoths, which is a huge point investment, are already kind of beat up here without much to say for it. I mean, the Lich Priest is in great health. I mean, the not Aspiring Champion, I'm sorry. Cetra is in good health. Even the Tomb Scorpion is doing pretty well. And Ushapti Summon here is going to really help clinch destruction of one of these 2 units here. But pushing in these Chaos Warriors is really going to help out. They need to help out their beleaguered Everchosen. Cascading Fire Cloak onto Archaon here, giving him good portion of melee defense as well as some AP percentage increase. Now remember, I mean, Archaon does do quite a bit of damage, right? He does magic attacks. He does 553 AP right now. Well, down to 47 now after the Cascading Fire Cloak wearing off. But he does suffer from the fact that you have 2 large constructs hitting into you. You can see Cetra is down to about half health, though. Those who shop with Great Bows are focusing on to that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, and the rest of the leadership of Chaos is really struggling here. You can see that Xiphos was really using those Shaggoths to help him bring down any large constructs, and it's surprising to see how poorly they fared in that engagement. It leads me to really believe that they weren't focused as heavily onto the single entity of Cetra. Big point of advice there. Anytime you have single entities fighting, make sure you're spam right-clicking on the unit you want them to target. They will oftentimes, because of their attack animation, get pulled off of the unit they're attacking and attack a different one. So if you do get them engaged with a large single entity and additional large multiple unit small entities, you want to... Oh, those Gorebeast Chariots went right through that Skeleton Regiment. You want to make sure you just spam clicking there so they stay engaged. But that balance of power right now, it is still 50-50, but I think that once one of these Shaggoths goes down 100%, we're going to see that balance power shift pretty wildly. There are not that many very strong units left in the Tomb King's army. In fact, one good Flaming Skull could really dish out quite a bit of damage here, but these 2 constructs are really going to just beat the shit out of everything that they look at. You can see some stuff rallying in the back line for Chaos, but it might not be enough here. I mean, the Gorby's Chariot is doing a great job. It's still at pretty full health. It's doing a great job of just kind of ripping through things here and there. Seeing if it can just kind of pick off any stragglers here. All right. Got a bit of an engagement here going. Shaggoth on this Tomb Scorpion, it looks like, with Archaon. Slayer of the Kings has been popped, doing some increased splash damage, some weapon strength, and some AP damage, but I think that the Tomb Scorpion might not be the best target, although it is going down pretty quickly here. Ushef's Incantation of Desiccation, huge reduction to that melee attack and melee defense, meaning he's going to get hit more often and hit far less, or he himself will have successful hits far less. Archaon is just not doing too well here. Every big charge by him just gets warded off by the combined effort of a lot of chaff units from the Tomb Kings. Now, if the Tomb Kings, or if Archaon can get a big Flaming Skull up this line of skeletons, it's going to cook all of them pretty hot and heavy, and it's going to pull out pretty well for Chaos. But we can see here that the balance power is shifting pretty heavily in Chaos's, or against Chaos, in the favor of the Tomb Kings. Rightist might have pulled ahead 1-1 in this. We'll see how it kind of plays out. You have some cycle charging coming in from these Dragon Ogre Shaggoths because they just keep fleeing. I believe one of them was down to 100% back there, as the Great Bows shoot into this one, trying to take it out. Oh, yeah, Archaon is just getting tag-teamed. The Ever-Chosen becomes the Ever-Boner. Oh, man, look at that thing, dude. I mean, I'm surprised, too, that Archaon is really faring so well against them. I mean, both these units don't have heavy anti-large. They're meant for just taking out a bunch of single or entity, or blah, 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 blah. They're much more aimed at taking out units of models, not single large entities like this. But, I mean, he's doing a good job. He's trying to neutralize that Tomb King as best as possible. And really, he's like the last bastion here, right? That other Shaggoth is down over there. We see our other one died somewhere over there. Somewhere off in the hills. And really, the Gorby's Chariots are all that's really left. You have some straggling units of Marauders here trying to get some sort of purchase. I mean, at the end of the day, this might get pulled out yet again by Xiphos. Who knows here? He is doing a good job of knocking out that Tomb Scorpion. It is so low in health right now. Oh, pulling through the whole unit, 253 health. If he got a Flaming Skull off, it would be pretty decimating. If a Flaming Skull ripped through this whole squad, or this whole blob here, it'd just be massive. Jaff's Incantation of Cursed Blades has been kicked off here, so giving him a huge bonus versus anti-large, which is really going to be a kind of a bit of a clincher here, I'd say. He does have Blessed Blade of Petra yet again, but he is trying to knock out that Tomb Scorpion as best he can. Those Gore Beasts might be able to do some damage here. Oh, there it is. I think Archaon is finally happening. It's capitulating, and yep, there it is. Army losses have fully kicked in. Xiphos loses. Pulling 1-1, Rightist kind of evens the odds here. You can really see that he was clinching as best he could. I mean, my butthole was tight the entire time, but 209 kills, 128 kills in the Warriors and the Gorby's Chariot. 110 kills for Archaon with his Flaming Skulls. He needed to get one more good one. If that first one had landed more hits and done more damage, I think that Rightist wouldn't have won. I think what really kept Rightist in this was that his ability to pull Cetra and the Tomb Scorpion through his units to screen out a lot of concerted effort and damage coming in from the Shaggoths and from Archaon. I think that ability to screen out of those conflicts really helped him kind of win the day there. All right, let's go ahead and let's change that. Score is 1-1. There we go. All right, they're going. They are choosing their armies here. We're gonna see what goes down. So again, we're at 1-1 here in our first match. We're gonna see how things transition into number 2. Riggsen and Reym are on deck. We actually message them and let them know that they are next up after this fight. Oh shit. Well, looks like we're gonna have to sub in for Riggsen. He cannot play today. And if we can't find a sub in, what we'll do is we'll default this to another day. And we'll finish up the round 2 match with the final probably like Friday or Thursday if that happens. Who do I want to win? I don't want anyone to win. I want you guys to keep playing in perpetuity. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I want everyone to lose forever so that you guys just keep fighting. You want to hear it again, Evan? Perpetuity. I'm not gonna do ASMR. For you guys that like ASMR, I'm not down. Thank you, Dr. Z. I mean, if you're into it, that's cool. If it gets your rocks off, but it just kind of like, apparently it's supposed to like give you like chills up your spine and everything when you watch it. And I watched it. I'm like, I just feel unclean. I feel weird about this right now. Probably because like it reminds me of like those scary ass movies where you just hear like a bunch of like and like fucking whispering, and like someone's like, "Oh god, I've been fucking possessed," and it's like, shit, man. Yeah, of course you have. You're hearing fucking whispers. And there's a lot of weird ASMR shit. Because it was shut off. Here, Aristodemos, you can have it again. There you go. That's for you, Aristodemos. Wait, you mean you already got it earlier? Because you already subscribed, dude. Stop being a chunt. You're being fucking super French today. Right, so we're gonna have to update that thing right there. We got our sub in here. All right, so we got a sub in for next game. We're all good to see. I don't know what happened to Amovehacker. He disappeared. All right, there we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. Had to set up our second person here for the next one. So it looks like Roz will be stepping in, and we have Roz versus Reym. Riggsen will maybe be next week. Kissanari, thanks for subscribing. And we have Xiphos on Lizardman versus Rightist on Bretonia. This should be a pretty interesting one. It means Rightist is going to be doing a lot of probably heavy cav play. We're going to see a lot of really cool high-level cycle charging. Then Xiphos is going to have to really kind of hold the line against that. So we should see a pretty interesting Lizardman build, or maybe even something to just directly counter it. So I'm stoked to see what we see here. We could see a lot of dinosaurs from the Lizardman, and we have to see probably a lot of AP, maybe even anti-large, of course, from the Bretonians. It's pronounced. Oh, thanks, Andre. So you helped my pronunciation of ROZ by just typing it out. Really awesome, dude. You really helped me out phonetically with that one. I just did it again. It was cool. So glorious. People are so weird about pronunciations of stuff in like fantastical games. Like, if you have a problem with the way I pronounce a fantastical name, other things can be way more upsetting in the world. No, it's not Roz. It's Roz. Dude, Black Feathers, I totally agree. So Black Feathers just said, no, I know you were joking, Andre. You're good, dude. I was joking back at you. I think you Italian-Spartacus incorrectly. Black Feathers said that Bretonia versus Lizardman always feels like a classic matchup because my first box set of Warhammer had those two races. Totally agree. That was my first box set as well. That was the very first thing I ever bought. You annoy me when I don't get a video every day. I'm sorry. I believe that the word is rosé. My very first Warhammer, anything I ever bought was, I think it was 4th edition fantasy was the starter set for Bretonia versus Lizardman. And the Lizardmen on the front of that were fucking disgusting looking. They don't look anything like they do now. But I remember I bought that. I gave my friend the Lizardman, and he built out a Lizardman force, and I worked on Bretonia. I think eventually, though, I transitioned off of Bretonia onto High Elves, because the first Warhammer thing I ever saw was a box of High Elf archers, and I wanted that box or something. Was the greater good? Professor Perner. Like, some guy tried to tell me on my video the other day that Abaddon is not pronounced Abaddon. I know you can also pronounce it Abaddon, but can we all just fucking calm down? Trying to have a good time and enjoy my mini plastic soldiers in the confines of my own fucking home over the age of 30. You know what I'm trying to say? Let me play with my plastic little men. And sometimes I'll get together with my friends and we play plastic little men together. Like Tur and I were just plastic little menning each other like that. What's up, Knight? What are you talking about, brother? Oh man, Flying Dutchman. I was talking to Turn about that. Like Turn has a pretty big problem with the current Chaos Space Marines, not the new ones that are coming out with Shadow Spear. He goes, dude, they're so fucking disgusting looking. I'm like, you don't even know. You don't even know disgusting. Look at these old Chaos Space Marines. These are disgusting. Or he's like, dude, these Obliterators are so haggard models. I'm like, dude, look at the old Obliterators. These are haggard. So anything now, to me, is like Space Age level technology. Because he's only used to 8th edition Warhammer 40,000. When you've got stratagems, command points, and shit like that. And I'm used to like, yeah, well, you gotta get 2 troop choices and a fucking HQ. Like, it's so much different. Mike Tremblay, there's no plastic little women except for Sisters of Battle. That's the only ones that exist. And Bretonia. Oh god, that old Nagash model is just a hunk of shit. All right, we're waiting for things to kind of get. They have loaded in. They're just lining up their armies here, and we'll get watching. Knight, that's not really a thing in Total War Warhammer. So that wouldn't really make a lot of sense to add that to Total War Warhammer. Like, there's not many instances of like, you know, they had to convert from a certain culture. I mean, there's not a lot of instances actually in Warhammer in general of one army taking over another location permanently. My second favorite faction, it's a tie between Bretonnia or Bretonnia or Vampire Counts. Let's take a look here at our factions here. So we can see here that Xiphos has got a nice commanding presence. God, I love this model. This is such a cool looking model. Lord Mazdamundi on Zlak. Good God. You know what? We haven't had this on the stream in some time. Let's get it in there. Let's just take a good look at Mazdamundi's Mazdamundi. And he is undulating there on Zlak today. His eyes are on fire and he's ready to go. So we've got a front line of Temple Guard. Let's see. More Temple Guard. And more Temple Guard. So he's got 3 units of Temple Guard spread out here with 3 units of Skunk cohorts with javelins intermixed within. And then we also see a nice line of backmen with horned ones. And that is it, actually. We also see the Bastilla Vivification Crystal, Turin's favorite word. A Feral Connoisseur, which is just a really, really great, nice, cheap, anti-large, heavy AP unit to get in there. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Feral Connoisseur. It's made such a huge presence. The feral dinos in general have a huge presence in the competitive meta. So it's great to see these guys, of course, being here. He's adorned very nicely with some trinkets. And also the horned ones are some of my favorite units as well. Just like the cold ones variation. I'm sorry, the Dark Elf variation. The Dread Knights are just so sick. I love to see horned ones as well. Heavy AP damage coming out of these guys. They still have their rampage. That does kind of a huge crux for them, but they can outlast things a little bit longer, preventing that rampage. And then some backline of some Saurus warriors. Now taking a look over here at our Bretonians, fat front line of some peasants here in the dead center to kind of absorb and do some controlled charging. In addition to that, we see some men-at-arms in the flanks, some more men-at-arms here, some more men-at-arms back here with spears this time, a nice row of archers. These guys just have the standard variation of bow, no pox or fire arrows. You can see here 160 range in these guys at I think, what, 375 per one. So they're a really great unit to get some really good, effective, cheap range units across the board, and then supported in the very back line with some spearmen-at-arms as well. Now, a huge pocket of Grail Knights here, supported by the Green Knight himself. Rightist from the Extreme Meme team does great honor to his clan by bringing the Green Knight into this fight here. Now, that does seem a really heavy meme choice, but at the same time, he is ethereal, so he has a very, very high... I can't get that. I gotta get the zoom here first. He has a very high native physical resist. So the nice thing about that is there isn't a ton of magic damage coming out of the Lizardmen. And as you can see, Leoncoeur just jumping in headlong into the back line of these Temple Guards. He realizes that's probably one of the biggest damage units. Oh! And neutralized by Net of Amantok here and getting right out of it pretty quickly. That was interesting. I've never seen that happen. That was pretty. I've never seen a unit go from the ground to the sky while netted. But Lord Mazdamundi here on Zlak nonetheless. Almost said Troglodons. Those Triceratops here. Oh man, got some Grail Knights coming in. They do AP and anti-infantry here, so Foot Squires would be in bad shape against them. But Mazdamundi himself doesn't do magic melee damage. In addition, the Revivification Crystal doesn't either. So sure, the Green Knight can tank against them, and he can, from what everyone's telling me in in chat here it's about a 60% physical resist. I couldn't verify that before I said anything. Sort of Corona's kicked off here, giving a massive reduction to the melee defense and armor of things around him. Cycle charging in these Grail Knights into the fray here. Things are going pretty interestingly. You've got a nice little pocket of the Shield of Old Ones, giving a nice fat damage resistance buff. The Green Knight here at the back end, just doing some slapping around with his ethereal sword. Gilles Le Breton, just kind of showing people how things are done. Technically Flying Dutchman, taking a look at his profile, it is not magic. Taking a look at this, the conflict here, you can see the archers are still in full effect. They're just kind of moving back a little bit so they get a better firing line. Some men-at-arms are fleeing off, but you do have a unit of Temple Guard that are pretty ornery heading this direction to kind of clean up some stuff. You do have 2 units of Horned Ones that are running kind of rampant through the back line, and this Feral Carnosaur. So that Feral Carnosaur does need to get brought down pretty quickly, as it can be a pretty huge amount of damage for Leonkar here. Zlok is in good condition here. Great health, just kind of eating through things as necessary. Green Knight still in full health here. I didn't see if there was a caster for... Oh, there it is. There's a caster, a Damsel of Life. That's to be expected, just your healing battery from Bretonia. Grail Knight's doing a great charge into an unbraced unit of Temple Guard, getting some good shots into them, cycling out of that here while also getting netted at the same time, overcasted by lovely Mazda Mundi, locking these guys down, and a banishment on top of them. But the banishment looks like it's going to be moving away from them. Scroll of Shielding as well, so you can see that Rightist did a really good ability to just kind of pivot on the heel on this, to deflect the kind of burst damage that was coming his way with this massive overcast of Net of Amantak. But you can see that unit of Grail Knights did kind of get cooked up a little bit more with that banishment as it moved off of this one to the other one. Feral Carnosaur, though, is just kind of getting sustained damage from the Green Knight here. You can see he's got AP. Oh, Feral Carnosaur is down. Damn. Was that the Feral Carnosaur? Or maybe not. Maybe that was Revivification Crystal. I'm sorry about that, guys. I can't tell from the fray. But either way, you have some peasant archers just kind of doing some shots into the back line. Oh, there's a Revivification Crystal. I don't know what I saw. Why do my eyes feel like shit today? Oh, it was just a cold one? Oh, yeah. It was just a cold one. Sorry, feral cold one. Damn. Was it a feral cold one? Or a horned one. Random horned one. Okay. It felt so big by comparison. Uh-oh. Unit of Temple Guard coming in here. Sort of Corone, though. So that's going to be pretty good against them. But they will have that AP and anti-large. A very, very huge threat to the King of Bretonia, Lowen Leonkar. He's been doing a great job. Oh, no! Of keeping his health high. But at the same time, he is getting chipped away pretty heavily by those Temple Guard in a very short amount of time here. They're trying to shut down this Feral Carnosaur, and it looks like it's working pretty well for them. The Green Knight is still in great shape here, doing some damage here. For the most part, let's take a look here. The Lizardmen have won the infantry fight, which is to be expected. Swarmed again by some Temple Guard here. Lowen is in some pretty dicey fights. The Green Knight supporting him. There you go. Getting some good shots on still. Those peasant archers have been firing pretty much the whole entire match, and they've actually been able to just to burn through their ammunition as they kind of work through things. But you can still see this ravening horde of lizardmen is pretty unbent here. Lowen jumping in headlong into these horned ones. Block punching through the side of him as well. Has some Temple Guard to deal with, and those guys are going to bring a lot of damage to Lowen, so he just have to get in the air pretty quickly on that. Woo! Looks like an all-in little fight here, trying to get some damage onto Mazda Money. Shield of the Old Ones has kicked off as well, giving again that 22% damage resistance buff. Hey guys, it's Duck. Taken to the air, Lowen is kind of circling the battlefield here. There are quite a few. Just a bit low. It's there. Okay, I can turn here. That should turn up the game sound for you guys. Let me turn it down here so he doesn't come back into the microphone. Oh. And as you can see here, Spearman kind of jumping in here. This is pretty rough. The men-at-arms really can't fare against the way more elite infantry of the Lizardmen. They are kind of reforming ranks here in this back line, getting all their units back in one place. Rightist is just kind of taking his time. Xiphos really has the initiative here in the sense that he has a much stronger elite core, and he's ravening through everything he can. While I do appreciate constructive criticism, there is a time and a place, and that wasn't one of them. Diego, I would be all stoked for that kind of thing. Man, look at this. This fight is just kind of squaring off here. Lowen is just really kind of struggling to keep things afloat here. He does still have their Damsel of Life, so there can be plenty of healing going off, but at this point, the Winds of Magic is probably quite low. The regeneration for that Winds of Magic is quite low. So things are going pretty interestingly here. We have this is every single match with Xiphos and Rightist today has been a pretty big cockfight. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the Green Knight the whole time has just been kept topped off. He's really strong in this situation. The balance of power is still at a strong 50-50 here. Archer's still kind of just shooting into the line here. I'm kind of just like caught up watching this. I mean, my commentary has lacked right now. I'm just like focused in on it. Get an Apotheosis cast onto Lord Mazda Money by himself, giving him some healing. I know, well, fear, but he already causes terror because he's got a... Oh, ho, ho, ho! Didn't expect that out of nowhere. Of course, that's not Dwellers. It is the level 1 ability for life, so it does not the massive amount of damage, but it still does some damage here. Shield of the Old Ones, helping to tank through a lot of this damage here. I mean, as you guys can see, the Green Knight has been able to just mitigate so much of the damage coming his way. A lot of this damage, let's take a look in a book. Oh, it's so hard to focus on him. There it is. So, he does have Blessing of the Lady, which gives him 20% physical resistance. In addition to that, he has Sacred Guardian, which helps him heal. And then, he has innate 75 physical resistance. So, he is very, very, very tanky. Duck is actually in the comment section right now, speaking about how his physical resistance actually works. He's got just a brutal amount of physical resistance. There's nothing that does direct magical damage to him, so their majority of their damage is getting bypassed by that physical resistance buff. Oh, there it goes again. Oh man, Lowen is just barely hanging on. At this point, though, the majority of the Lizardman infantry has been pretty beat up. So it really looks like it's just coming down to Zlok and all of his fucking glory, and a little bit of health here from the Bastillodon. Things are pretty close now. The Damsel of Life is now gone. And this fat unit of Saurus Warriors with shields is coming back here. Now, this isn't the spear variant, of course, but this unit has been pretty full health. I think that was kind of forgotten about by Rightist, or I'm sorry, by Xiphos. So it is coming to help out in this fight against Rightist to try and clinch this win here. You can see the Green Knight is now getting circle jerked by a lot of the action here from Mazdamundi, but I don't know, man. It's so close. Oh. Damn right you did, Ryan Borgia. I didn't see who conceded to that. Ooh, a Pyrrhic victory. So it looks like Rightist seceded, bowed out there, and we have Xiphos as the winner, pushing on into the finals. Man, that was a pretty intense fight there. I mean, each matchup against Xiphos and Rightist has been pretty close and down to the wire each and every time. And whew, that was really deadly. Let's push on here to the next one here. Give me a second here, guys. We're going to take a look at some stuff. We might actually have to do our round 2 on another day. Let me take a look here, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to we'll put up this one. Oh, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a brief intermission. I'll play the trailer again, and we'll come back right after that trailer. Okay. We're just getting our next competitors in here. Looks like we're going to have Reym versus Roz. Okay. Struggling to find it here. Interesting bug that we've discovered is if you host a battle on spectator mode, people cannot join your game unless they're on your friends list. So we have to make sure that we get the people on friends list real quick. So give me just a sec. Gotta set the map properly back to Xuahua Lake. Intermission Black Armor from had crazy good CGI. Tactical Turtle, that is from Inquisitor Martyr. There we go. We got Rosin. Next Darkest Dungeon stream? Friday. Tomorrow we're gonna stream Chaos Bane. I just had him on my friends list. Where he is. There we go. All right. Gentleman's picks. Go ahead and select your armies. You have 3 minutes starting now. All right, so it is 1:39 in the PM. They have until 1:42 to select their army. We've set up our scoreboard back that is configured properly. Yeah. I'm hungry, needed those baguettes. So GG to Rightist and Xiphos for playing on our last match here. Reym is going to be going on Empire. We're going to see what Roz selects here in just a little bit. They've got 2 more minutes. Oh, Roz is going to be going as the Dawei, so we have the Empire versus the Dawei here to start us off. Fucking water. Oh. And they're down to 1 more minute. The game a few days ago and wanted to say how helpful your videos was. You're up the good work. Well, thank you very much, GDD50. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. Welcome to the digital Kraken, which is Total War Warhammer. The second heat is just started, Christian Bender. This is the first. This is the beginning of the second heat, end of the first heat. Roz and Reym are squaring off here together against one another. Oh, Dr. Z, you mean the plastic crack that I play like every goddamn day? What's up, Riley? How you doing, dude? Oh, Monkey. What's up, dude? Fly ass motherfucker. All right, they're readying up, and we're getting moving here. Aristodemos, if you don't choose your factions enough time, I'll give you a little bit longer, but if you don't pick in that time, I'll just give you an auto loss. And if they both don't do it, well, they both get an auto win, and you move into one, basically winner takes all. I am not a kind god. All right, they're loading in, and we'll see what happens here. This is on Xuahua Lake, which we've seen in our first heat already. So we'll see the dwarfs again on the same map, and Empire. So our very first map was dwarfs versus the high elves, swapping starting locations. It looks like we'll see how this kind of plays out here. We have Clan Angrund, not just simply the dwarfs. So maybe we'll see some of the ethereal bros here today. We also have Empire, so maybe some obvious choices with Boris Todbringer and such. So let's take a look here at these armies. They are just kind of sizing up everything, getting everything placed in order. We do have Boris Todbringer for Reym's army, along with the Amber Wizard. Now this is a build that I haven't seen in quite some time. Is to take the Amber Wizard on a Griffin, and you take Boris Todbringer on a Griffin, and then you get Transformation of Cat on, which gets you a Mana Core. So you basically can spawn a 3-some beat squad of Flying Doom. Now, that's a pretty cool one. That used to be really, really big in Total War Warhammer 1. I haven't seen it too often in Total War Warhammer 2, so let's see how this works. I mean, against an army like the Dwarfs, that actually could work quite well, as those units bring a lot of AP to the table, a lot of terror. Dwarfs do have great leadership, and less any kind of terror is always a good thing. Now, as far as the Dawi go, we'll jump back on this once they kind of finish ranking up here. Or filing up, rank and filing up. Yeah, I don't see any ghost Dawi, so we're good on that front. Looking at the remainder of the Dawi front line, though, I see a nice, good pocket of Thunderers in the in the very front. Welcome to the channel, D2D. We see a lot of Dwarf Warriors here as well. 2 units of Dwarf Slayers, then a back line of Bugman's Rangers, in addition to some a unit of cannons. Bugman Ranger is always kind of a nice unit here. They have this awesome ability, Liquid Fortification, which gives them some just kind of passive replenishment and healing, which is nice as always. The Dwarfs don't have access to much healing at all. So they also have just a standard variation Lord here. I didn't know I had the little rune on their back like that. Clan Engren, I think, has the way better colors than the Dwarf default colors, in my opinion. And then a nice Vanguard placement of some miners here. Not the Blasting Charge variant, which actually would do quite well against Empire. Now, for our Empire, they're going to be dealing with some pot shots taken out from the cannons that are coming their way. But for the most part, we have a long line of swordsmen in the very front, followed by some greatswords. These greatswords are a great option. They'll be giving a lot of AP and anti-infantry into the units, as well as some units of Empire Knights on the far flank here and on the far flank out here. So let's get this show on the road. I did not mention that they have a runesmith. That's always they have 2 runesmiths no less. The dwarfs are going to be prepared for the prolonged fights that are coming their way. I keep like reaching for my water, instead almost grabbing the LED light that is lighting my backdrop. Oh man, sweet water, nectar of life. All right, our game is underway. We're seeing how things kind of push slowly towards one another. The Empire Knights just kind of moving over here, using the cover of the hill. That way they're kind of blocked from any kind of range fire from the top of the hill. Those cannons, though, are still in range of a lot of stuff, but never mind. They just push under the crest of the hill, keeping them out of the range of the flyers. You can kind of see here that clearly they're out of that range. Now, the problem with this hill that Faraz is, though, he is now on the backside of the top of the hill. So he's behind the crest, so he can't have any range shooting down here unless it's something like a unit of Quarrelers. The Thunderers are even going to have a difficulty firing because they need a direct line of fire. So this is going to be a very interesting fight for him, because I think a lot of his range firepower has been neutralized by the crest of that hill. He does get his Thunderers in good position over here. Nice tight pocket of them too, so they can pivot as needed. Getting some shots right onto Boris Todbringer here. Getting a good about 10% shot into him. He does have the Manticore flying in, doing exactly what the Manticore should be doing. Just kind of a disposable kamikaze unit directly into some Thunderers, blocking them, preventing them from getting some shots in, but now bringing in the rest of the Air Force to kind of do whatever kind of damage they want to do. But Boris Todbringer has really taken quite a bit of shots here. Rune of Wrath and Ruin has hit him pretty hard, in that is going to slow him down and make him a much easier target for this combined fire from the Thunderers. As you can see here, that's going to be pretty brutal here. A little bit of lag kicking in. Hopefully nothing too serious. Nothing too serious. Hopefully nothing too serious. There we go. Range firepower from the crossbowmen for the Empire. Getting some shots into the miners, of what's looking like. Can't really tell. The lag is kind of slowing it down here. I apologize about that, guys. Alright, Manticore looks like it's moving for the Runesmith. It's got Rune Negation and armor up here, so it'll be taking less damage, and it's got a higher armor value here. Right. The lag does kind of cause like a situation where you can kind of pivot your aim, right? Like if you are not the one that's being completely assaulted by the lag, you can go, alright, now what can I really do? So I get a brief pause. Right. And these great swords just kind of getting winning the day over here. This right flank entirely getting just completely smashed apart over here. You've got the back line getting completely compromised by Empire Knights, but you do have some Dragonback Slayers pushing into them. Another transformation of Kadon going out, pulling another Manticore into the fight. Amber Wizard is completely inundated over here, but he's in some pretty soft targets like Thunderers and Bugman's Rangers, allowing him to at least shut these units down so they can't shoot. They're not going to do a ton of damage to him, but as you can see over time, he will just kind of get waddled down. There are Giant Slayers here, and the Giant Slayers are the AP anti-large option here for the Slayers. So if those things get up close and personal with that Amber Wizard, they're going to crack that thing pretty hard. Hammer of Karak draws being kicked off, reducing the melee attack and the weapon damage here. Melee attack, of course, being the likelihood to hit, while weapon strength being the amount of damage you will deal out when you do hit. Boris is kind of getting he's pushing through this whole, as you can see here, this whole right flank that is completely just won. He's using it to kind of push momentum into the back line of Raz's army and really just trying to help smash through it. Amber Wizard getting out of that fight, getting a little, Amber Spear shooting off. Empire Knights coming into the rear of these Dwarf Miners here, and this is looking pretty bad for the Dwarfs. I think the biggest thing was their placement, right? That hill negated a lot of the strength of the Great Cannon because it wasn't able to get a lot of good shots off before the entire Air Force was close. Now that it's up close and personal in that back line, it's able to just disrupt everything. And with that being done, its effectiveness has really just been cut down like, oh man, like 75%. You can see the crew is now fleeing. The balance of power is shifting pretty wildly in favor of the Empire, as I think that Reym's kind of got this one. Majority of that back line has all fled. I can't even see the Lords right here. Focus fire coming out from the crossbowmen. You have the great swords on this runesmith here, trying to crack that armor open. The giant slayers slowly just kind of getting picked apart by the shots out from these crossbowmen. You've got the Amber Wizard kind of cycle charging in, using its nice Griffin talons to just rake through some dwarf fat bodies. You've got the Empire Knights kind of pushing through and cleaning up the remaining of the dwarf warriors. Now you can see here the Lord is just kind of on its last stumpy leg, as the dwarfs are looking to get army losses here and capitulate pretty quickly. Bringing the tally up 1-0 for Reym in the first match of the second heat here. Now Reym is a member of ODM, while Xiphos is a member of. Xiphos, are you ODM? Are you XMT? I can't remember off the top of my head. Dignified just asked, how useful is the Amber Wizard with a Griffin? I noticed that as an mount option, but never really considered it despite the potential for terror. Well, as you can see, that Amber Wizard was able to do quite a bit of damage here, in the sense that he was able to get in the backline, summon up transformations of Kadon, which were able to help split a lot of the kind of backline disruption by getting into the face of these Thunderers, of the cannon, which wasn't able to dish out nearly any damage here. So you can see really that the usefulness of a nice front line by Reym with great swords, and a lot of pressure with those Empire Knights, and range pressure from, flying pressure from the Empire Boris Taubringer and from the Amber Wizard, was really able to shut down Raz's army quite quickly. All right, moving on to Liangui. That map here. Okay, let's go ahead and update the scoreboard. That is set, and the map is all set, so they are good to go. They're just choosing their armies. They're on the 3-minute counter as always. Should the Empire have feral griffins? Absolutely not, Dr. Zero. This is a civilized fucking country, man. Reym is going to be the greenskins choosing his army against Raz's. We'll find out soon. Andre, I would love that if they had the war wagons. Ooh, Greenskins versus Beastmen. Imperial War Griffins are fine, but they're not feral War Griffins running through the back streets of Altdorf, gambling their lives away. You know, you gotta be fucking realistic about it. So it looks like if Reym were to win this next one, it'd be Reym versus Xiphos. Two ODM people, two brothers pitched against each other in combat. Likely to win? Who knows? If Roz wins this, though, and wins the next one, it'd be Roz versus Xiphos, where this is the best of 3. So Norska versus Greenskin. I don't know what that is, Joe. I don't like Fortnite. I think Fortnite is a hunk of shit. Like, if the premise of a first-person shooter is to be tactical and find someone and discover them and like, oh yeah, ooh, they're over here, I'm gonna shoot them and stuff like that. That's the point of a first-person shooter, right? But if I catch you out in the open when you're in the middle of the plains and I'm in a building and I'm in like a pitch position, I'm like, all right, I got this. I'm gonna shoot this guy and kill him. But you can just build a goddamn tree fort around me. Go fuck the fuck off. Fortnite is not cool. I mean, I think it's really, really, really cool from a standpoint of graphically, it's got a really low barrier of entry, but it looks really impressive, right? So you can have like a potato computer and still play it. I think that's really sick. I think that more games are taking a step in that direction. You look at Overwatch, you look at Apex Legends, you look at Fortnite, all these high-end, massively streamed games that can be played by low impact computers. I think that's the future of gaming right now. I know that, like, if you were to ask me that 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh, Crisis is like the king, right? All that kind of stuff. Sparty is jealous. He doesn't have any V-Bucks. I don't like Fortnite. Apex is so much more fun. I love playing I love playing Apex. Apex is a lot of fun. I play Apex probably like 2 or 3 hours a night. If you guys want to see Apex, I will stream that on Twitch. I won't stream that online. I feel guilty playing Apex because I'm so shitty at it. You get better at it by playing them, though. You don't have to worry about it. I like Vermintide, but I can't marathon game Vermintide. The battle royale thing it's kind of cool, right? It's a really interesting, it's an interesting mechanic, or I guess game feature, because you think about a battle royale, and what makes it so appealing to a streamer is that you can jump into a battle royale game at any time. There's no narrative. You know, if you jump into this tournament, you see some names, you see some scores, you see a giant fucking this, and you're kind of a little lost. It's just like the reason that I don't stream a lot or play a lot of campaign play is because once you get past the 5th or 6th one, you can't come into it midway through. You kind of get lost, right? So when that happens, you create like a non sequitur situation going on, like you have with battle royales, where you can just join in at any time. You can watch 15 minutes and you've watched 2 or 3 games, or you jump in the middle of a game. All right, well, this one will end, another one will start, and I'll be right back in line. Yeah, well, no. Can you floss in Apex? Checkmate. Good point, Dak. All right, so it looks like we're going to be having Norska versus, what did I say it was? Greenskin. They're just setting their armies up, and then we'll go through them and everything like that. We're on Liangwei, which was our Tomb Kings versus versus Warriors of Chaos before. Yeah, I totally agree with Professor Pone on that. Professor Pone just said, I love how fast I can lose at Apex and be another game right away. Like when I played PUBG, you get in those really lucky, you get in those lucky matches where you don't see anyone until like the final couple circles, but you've played 45 minutes of looting and looting and looting and looting simulators. And then by the time you actually go to fight in the final circle, you're not Frosty. You haven't been doing any fighting. You've been looting, so you get killed like that. Fucking sucks. Damie G, Reym is playing as the greenskins. But when you play a game like Apex, even if you're in like the final circles, it's a smaller map, so you're looking at about like 15 minutes of total play if you're in that very end game. So it's a nice touch. All right, let's take a look here. So taking a look at Reym's army, he has got a little bit of an eclectic mix here. He's got that front fat line of black orcs, just to be expected nowadays. You see these guys all over the place. Got that huge AP, a lot of armor, 110. That is going to be a hard nut to crack as always. Front line, of course, on top of that with some night goblins flanked out by some more night goblins. You got the mangy marauders and forest spiders over here on the left, and then you've got Azog on his vibe. Why did I never see this? How have I never seen this? Like, I know on the model that's like an armored plate, but that just looks like he's got a fucking toothed vagina. That was terrifying for me. My graphics are pretty high right now. I don't know why it's like that. It's oddly flat. All right, so we have Azog here. He's got obviously his Wa, but he's got Spirit Leech as his only spell. Get on with it, his nice aura for leadership. And on top of that, we have a backline of the Goblin firing line supported with Orc Armor Boys rather than Goblin Archers. In the very back, we have Broken Tusks Mob, Anti-Large, AP, Orc Boy Big Guns here. The fuck is this? And then some Forest Goblin Riders. Oh, forgot to mention this little guy right here. We also have a Night Goblin Shaman. I don't know why, but I've always really liked Night Goblins in general, but Night Goblin Shamans particularly. But Itchy Nuisance for that weapon damage and that melee attack, and then Vindictive Glare, which does a lot of damage if it makes contact. All right, and now as far as Roz's front line, a lot of Marauders, just normal Marauders here. Oh, no. Marauder Champions right here in the dead center. Yeah, Marauder Champions. The 2 Marauder Champions supported by 3 total units of Marauders on their flanks. Marauder Champions are probably a better choice here because they have a lot more armor. So they'll be able to kind of last through a lot of the frontline conflicts of the Greenskins a little bit better. In addition to that, you have a front or a back line or auxiliary line of Spearmen. Behind that, you have a single unit of Mistwalkers, or Mist Stalkers, the Famir Warriors here. These are the regiment noun variation of the Famir Warriors. Let's take a look here. There we go. They have From the Mist, which gives them a nice bonus to their missile resistance. This will help them deal with that Goblin firing line in the back line. Also have Wulfric the Wanderer and a Shaman Sorcerer of Death, the Beasts of Tashnar, in addition to some Norskin Warhounds and Marauder Horsemen, and Horsemen. So 4 units of Marauder Horsemen, a unit of the Icehorn Marauders as well, all moving up. Azog getting in close over here. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for subscribing, man. Yeah, I've seen the movie Teeth, Xiphos, and it's disgusting. Boom, look at that. Gaze of, Spirit Leech and the Gaze. Missing, but still hitting a little bit and doing quite a bit of damage here to that Shaman Sorcerer. Almost completely knocking him out. Like that was a really quick, hard, and heavy alpha strike. You get given a movement in here with the Mangy Marauders and those Forest Goblins. Get them shots into those Horsemen. Just trying to pick off some stuff here. The biggest problem here is though that there's no Berserkers, there's no Famir Warriors. So this threesome pocket of Black Orcs is going to be very hard to take down for Norsca in this situation. There's not a lot of AP in this faction. I'm sorry, in this army right now. Fatass, I'm not sure. Wa kicking off here as both of the armies go to meet. A fat charge in from the Famir Warriors. Ooh! Hey, St. Augustine, thanks for subscribing, man. Oh, this is not going to be good. Oh, that was a good one. Did about 50% health damage to the Rusty Errors, which is a good target for that ability. You want to try and neutralize their firing power as fast as possible here. Kind of an all-in fight here is being kind of dedicated. Itchy Nuisance and Fight or Die has kicked off as well, giving some good weapon damage and melee attack reduction to the Norskins, but they did have their leadership. Ooh! Hunter of Champions has kicked off on Azog here, getting those Beasts of Tashnar in as well. Beasts of Tashnar are anti-large, so we'll be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Man, that was a really good play by Roz. He kind of baited out the Wolfric Alpha Strike here, and then used the Beasts of Tashnar to help keep a lot of pressure on Azog. They might even be able to kill him right here if that speed doesn't wear off fast enough. Oh, looks like the... Oh, shit! Huge play there. Trying to screen out through anything he can. Getting pushed into another unit with Spearmen, no less. That is not a good initial fight right there. Can he get up in the air? Uh-oh, Spirit Leech on him. Oh, it's so close. 800, 700. I think he's just going to be able to stabilize. Oh, nope. Nope. 400. Oh, he's routing. See if he comes back. That was pretty brutal. Strong Alpha Strike got Alpha Striked by the Alpha Strike. As you can see here, though, the front line of Orcs, this unit of Black Orcs was dealt with pretty handedly, but the other one is doing great. This one as well. I think that even though Azog is in bad shape and got hit pretty hard... Oh, God, he just ate that in the face. The gauge just fucking did it so hard. Oh, man. I just watched that just clip him. Woo! But I think that because that fight went so poorly, the infantry fight is going so poorly for Norska, they might not be able to pull this one off. Azog has stabilized quite a bit. He's got just a shred of health left at 442. Now that Deathcaster is gone, he doesn't have to worry about any kind of errant usage of Spirit Leech. So it's really going to be a matter of taking out these Premier Warriors, pushing through the remainder of the Norscan army, or foot army, and then just kind of cleaning up here. I think that since the balance of power is already shifting in favor of the Orcs, even though that great Alpha Strike didn't put the nail in the coffin for Azog, I think that we're still going to see a lot of there's so many Orcs over here, not enough Norskin, that the balance of power is just creeping more and more and more in favor. Oh, big rear charge here onto the Orc R boys. Hey, David Foster, what's up, dude? Norskins are in bad shape here. Wolfric is still holding the line here. They still have a lot of Horse Masters. Flying right in. Oh, bold move, Cotton. Right there. We get Reym pulling ahead 2-0 in the second heat into Xiphos. Getting that final going on against two brothers, ODM versus ODM here. Roz had a really great play trying to snipe out Azog, and that almost just went so well for him. And man, it was down to the wire on that one. Holy shit. But Azog, I think even if Azog still had lost and died out, since so much effort was put towards shutting him down, a lot of the other elements that need to be dealt with more, maybe I'd say the Black Orcs, were allowed to kind of reign free and do a lot more damage to the rest of the Norscan army. Xiphos, you are up, brother. All right, let's get Xiphos in. ODM Xiphos versus ODM Reym. Oh, ODM Civil War, the baguette Civil War. I've seen this. I've seen the French Revolution. You guys just cut off each other's motherfucking heads like crazy people because, you know, you're all well balanced, you can tell. Let's go ahead and switch on over here to the bracket while I switch that up. The War of la Baguette. Petit la famille mignon. All right. Okay. Set everything up here. Okay, good. We're all set here. Let's see if we've got Xiphos in. Grabbing Sipos, I guess. Second, guys. So again, we already have Aristodemus and Hadries winning the first 2 weeks here. Either Reym or Xiphos will take this one away, and they'll be our third winner of our Warpstone Cup. This is qualifier number 3 before the finals 2 weeks from now. Hopefully some fun action will be had. We'll have Turn jumping in here to help me cast the finals as I helped him. Just typing out some rules real quick, guys. To 1 second. This weekend finals? Oh, no, Famore. We have another week and then another week. The finals will be delivered on a time that makes sense for all 4 competitors. All right. All right, I'm giving them 4 minutes to choose their armies. Once those 4 minutes are up, we'll get going on our first match of the finals here. They're talking in French. I don't understand it. It sounds insulting because I don't know what the hell's going on. But has a pair ever picked the same faction in one of these tournaments? Black Feathers, it's gentleman's pick, so they don't ever choose the same faction. They're discussing baguette feelings. What does gentleman's pick mean? They both decide. They both say like, "Hey, I'm going to choose this. What do you want to pick?" That way, they kind of, it kind of discourages a lot of hard counter picking. It used to be that you would send me your picks. There was called blind picking, so you would send me your picks ahead of time. I would say, let's say, Vampire Coast, Dark Elves, and High Elves. And someone else would say, oh, Greenskins, Lizard Men, and Dwarfs. And I would look at the two and say, okay, these two are the same, switch these two, whatever it was. But for the most part, blind picking almost always guaranteed you'd get hard countered in a bad way. Gentleman's pick ensures that someone says, like, okay, hey, I want to choose Dwarfs. well, then you don't just go a hard counter pick to them to be an asshole. You're a gentleman about it. You go, okay, well, what would be fun to play against dwarfs? It's a little bit more of a friendly, kind of more laid back style. Mirror matches are avoided because they're very boring. It's just not very engaging to watch. And me as an announcer, it's very difficult to talk about things. I already kind of struggle enough as it is if I'm not like 100% locked in and engaged. In this situation, I'm worrying about like 15 different things, and it pulls my my brain to like 15 different locations. Yeah, like imagine me saying, man, those dwarf miners really just got picked off by those dwarf miners. They smashed into each other at such a fast rate there. That, I mean, the great thing about those dwarf miners is they've got great AP. And when you look at dwarf miners, they've also got great AP. So when you're fighting AP against AP, you're definitely going to notice there's always so going to be AP. When these dwarf miners and dwarf miners fight against each other, picks are going to be flying. It's like, really takes the color out of commentating. Van Hyles and Bretonia versus Xiphos. Minor fight. Thanks for subscribing, Jack. Runelord A chased Runelord B. The armies are just kind of loading in and getting set up here. They're both in La Franfe. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. What am I trying to bring back? You guys can hear everything all right tonight, right? You have good game audio, good mic audio, everything sounds good. I tried something different. I'm pushing, like I said, I'm pushing everything through the speaker and not through my headphones. The headphones you get a lot of ear fatigue when you wear them for a long time. Trying to bring back that sportsmanship. All right, they've loaded it in. Popping into the match, and we'll get some setup here. Looks like we'll be the dwarfs in this match. So dwarfs versus greenskins. Reym on greenskins yet again. Dwarfs for Xiphos. We'll see how this plays out. And our two armies kind of get set up a little bit here before we get going. Dwarfs have a lot of answers for a lot of the cool things that the greenskins can bring. At the same time, greenskins have a lot of options to really just get in the back line and do a shit ton of damage to dwarfs. So we should see a lot of stuff like here, I'll look right now. I can't even think of the name. Nasty Skulkers. I kept trying to say Itchy Nuisance. A lot of Nasty Skulkers, which are very cheap AP units from the greenskins. The Goblin Firing Line is going to be very effective because it can just kind of single out things. But at the same time, when it comes to dwarfs, the dwarfs can field a lot of stuff that can really deliver a lot of longer range damage to the greenskin front line, especially cannons, goblobbers, quarrelers are really great options here, stuff like that. But does anyone think there will be another race pack for Total War Warhammer 2? Actually, Fritz, I don't know. I want to think that there won't be. The only options would be Southern Realms and Araby. So it's just a matter of if they want to put in the Dogs of War. All right, so let's take a look here. Look at this massive army kind of spread out and set up. As we've always said, the name of the game, look at that board presence. The name of the game is always layers and layers and layers, being an onion when it comes to dwarfs. So front line, miners with blasting charges, miners, and oh, just four, just the three then. So these three units of miners with blasting charges will disrupt a lot of the charges coming out from the greenskins. Some dwarf warriors intermixed here in little pockets here and there. Some dwarf warriors with great weapons here, which are a really, really great way You get AP damage at a very cheap rate without having to buy Longbeards, Hammerers, or the other bros. I just can't think of it off the top of my head right now. Now on top of that here, we've got some Thunderers as well, pushing into the dead center. Also the Goblobber. Dwarf Warriors supporting those back lines. You've got some Dwarf Slayers as well. And boom, look at this bad boy. Got some my own drakes. How long's the stream been on? The stream has been on for 2 hours and 8 minutes and 43 seconds. Now, we see some gyrocopters over here. And I think this is the bomber all the way over here. Look at this sneaky play by Xiphos. Nope, just the gyrocopter. Looking to see if there's any kind of vanguard placement in the back corner there. Looking to do some additional damage to it. Alright, so nasty skulkers on the left side here with Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. Look at these things, dude. Anti-infantry and AP. There's tons of them. You'll be able to ravage through the back line pretty hard. You have another supporting unit as well on the right flank. The very front dead center is a large, massive amount of Black Orcs with the king of Black Orcs himself. Oh, I almost said Throg. Grimgor leading the way. Goblin firing line behind that, supported by a Night Goblin Shaman. So this would be a pretty fun little little army here. Very thematic. We'll see how things go. I mean, you can see that this the gyrocopter was just searching out over here, looking to pop out the stock on these things, get some shots into them, maybe even go on to the other side and do the same thing over there. Goblobber already doing tons of damage into these Black Orcs, and they're killing a few models here and there. They get them back up. We're all right. Man, look at that thing just thundering down range over there. You can see here the copters are doing quite a bit of damage to the Nasty Skulkers, but Nasty Skulkers I think are 375 points. They're not really a whole bunch of damage that's going to be lost there. Oh, look at that. Look at that melting through. Squigs just jumping into those guys. Same thing on this end over here. Slayers have moved in to kind of take the charge a little bit more, though. Trying to get those flamethrowers some time to get some shots out there. This side fared a little bit better than the left side, as the Squig Herders, or Squig Hoppers, just pounced into those Iron Drakes. Man, that was pretty brutal. Oh, look at that. Look at that, just cooking up some Black Orcs. Who wanted a green skin barbecue? Nasty Skulkers in with those miners with blasting charges over here. Iron Drakes getting charged on the flank by those Black Orcs, just chopping things down. Look how just hulking these things are, man. Did the Black Orcs change in size? I feel like they're way bigger now. Thunderers getting some shots into those Black Orcs on the left flank. Goblin firing line shooting into the Dwarf Warriors over there. Are those the Slayers? Yeah, those are Slayers over there, actually. You see those Squig Hoppers just leaping through more miners over there. Just roasting these guys. Of course it's because they're fighting dwarfs. Don't forget it, guys. Whenever you guys talk about how cool dwarfs are, they're basically glorified bar stools. Man, look at that. You know, you don't get to see Iron Drakes too often, but one thing you see far less than Iron Drakes is Trollhammer torpedoes, and those things are actually better as of Total War Warhammer 2. They've gotten a little bit better of a play than their first edition counterpart. Goblobber firing off. I mean, the backline's still pretty much intact. He still has a little defensive geometry around here to kind of keep things in order. Balance of power has actually shifted more for the dwarfs than it has for the greenskins. You can see our Rune Lord is kind of hanging back here. Itchy Nuisance has been tricked off on him. They do have the Black Orcs there trying to get into that back line. The Dwarf Warriors are fighting against Grimgor Ironhide, but Grimgor does have a lot of armor and a significant amount of melee defense here. And these guys, well, while having AP, they just won't be able to face the master of Black Orcs that he is. More Black Orcs getting into this backline over here. But, man, those Iron Drakes, I mean, Xiphos has done a really good job of keeping the Iron Drakes in overlapping, like, arcs of fire, so that at least one of them is firing the entire time. Most times when you see people using Iron Drakes, they just get shut down so quickly. Blasting charge, just chucking all sorts of damage that they can at Grimgor. And the majority of Grimgor's army has fled. I mean, these things don't do AP damage, but they do discouraging damage. And that's really good against any kind of army with low morale, like Greenskins. You can see that while these things haven't been able to, like, 1v1 these things, Black Orcs I mean, they've been able to still continue to deliver quite a bit of discouragement. Same thing coming out of the Goblobber here. It does AP damage and discouragement, so it's able to really kind of hit at the one of the Achilles heels of the Greenskins, and that is their poor morale. You're getting a full surround here. Reym has, I keep wanting to say seceded, and I don't know why, but he has bowed out from this one, and Xiphos pulls ahead 1-0 here in the first round of our finals. Go ahead and change that score. That was a really fun build by Xiphos. It was not a conventional dwarf build, and a conventional dwarf build against Greenskins, no less. I really, really liked that. The Iron Drake play was very impressive. It was able to just kind of get a lot of overlapping fire, able to move out of the combat, keep things constantly kind of shooting some fire downrange, and they were able to do what they were supposed to do, which was really mulch through a lot of those Black Orcs, and they did a great job of doing it. With only one unit of dedicated AP, I mean, sure, the Dragonback Slayers and the Slayers are basically that, but when you take a look at Dwarf Warriors are not AP units. Miners are not AP units, nor are Longbeards. Thunderers are, and you've got AP from a Goblobber, but for the most part, there was nothing that was dedicated to cracking open Black Orcs, and they still won pretty handily. This was a very unique and very fun build from Xiphos here, so a great first match here. Your 4 minutes. Begin. Why did I accept to fight against the most cancer race of the game? Says Reym. All right. Altdorf Outskirts is their next location. Map is updated. Scoreboard is updated. They are good to go. 4 minutes starts now. It's 2:28, so at 2:32. They must begin. Okay, guys. Let's see. Let's do a poll here. Poll. Who do you think Xiphos? Okay. Poll is up and has started. Let's get a poll, see who you guys think is going to win this one. As always, to vote on the poll, you want to type !0 if you're voting for Reym, or exclamation point vote space 0, or exclamation point vote space 1. 1 is for Xiphos, 0 is for Reym. Oh man, guys, the rain is like keeping me so sleepy. Rain's making me sleepy. There was so much thunder here. Last night we had just like tons of lightning. I was talking to Turn, and I was like, holy shit. We don't get thunder like this in Southern California, especially the way it was. Like, full-on lightning bolts, house-shaking thunder. I mean, you get that in, like, Texas, but not in Southern California. The chat looks like binary. Oh, man. All right, guys. That's called Tuesday here in Florida. Monkey, I don't want to... You sat like through like a horrible like Cat 17 hurricane when we were playing Destiny 2. So guys, if you see Riley Olam in chat, I played Destiny with him and my roommate and a bunch of other bros. We played Destiny there for like 4 years almost, 3 years almost. And he lives in Florida, and he was sitting there like through one of those really bad Floridian hurricanes, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for it to pass." I can just hear like of it like slamming on his windows whenever we play together. I want whoever plays Beastman to win. Well, you see Norska. You see Norska versus Tomb Kings right now. Xiphos on Norska, Reym on the Tomb Kings. Take a look at our poll right now. Results are saying 7 votes for Xiphos and 3 votes for Reym. I feel like this isn't right. 1, 2, 4, 5. Major Mula, you have to type exclamation point vote, all one word, like everyone above. 4, 5, about right. You're voting on who's going to win, Xiphos or Reym. It worked that time, Major. This is our finals. We're here in heat number 3. The finals of the day. On Saturday, I stayed up until like 3 a.m. watching Transformers last night. Or the last night. Gotta say, wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought that fucking movie was going to be terrible. Everyone was like, oh god, I couldn't even stand it. I almost walked out of the theater. I watched it. It's no different than any other Transformers movie. It's just a Michael Bay, like, everyone's sweaty, high exposure, huge tits, giant fucking explosions, and robots. Like, why would that bother me? Exactly what I expected when I watched those movies. Where am I from? Southern California. Rainy Southern California. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop that poll. Let's announce to see who is the winner. All right, so it looks like Xiphos has got up ahead with 9-3 in that one. All right. What time is it there? It is 2:33 of the PM. I can't stop yawning. That's bad. I haven't yawned this much in one go in a long time. Am I gonna like combust? Spontaneously combust? Here it's Wednesday at 11:33 p.m. Where are you? Oh, 8 hours ahead. I mean, we like in like what? Oh, the Netherlands. Oh, okay. Yeah, but you get your midnight sun. The sun never fucking sets over there. You're probably looking out your window and it's like scorching hot. Well, the Netherlands, it never gets like. Well, 35 in the morning, you're saying? All right, those 4 minutes are up. We don't hear from Reym shortly. The rules are that I've created We're all good. The rule is, though, if you aren't ready at the time up, I'll give you a little bit more time, just because I'm not going to be that much of a stickler about it. But if you continue not to be ready, then I will give the win to the opposing team. And if you both aren't ready, then no matter what point you're at in the series, winner takes all. Okay. Xiphos. What's up, John Parley? Estonia has the Midnight Sun? I don't think I'm mixing that up. Doesn't matter. No one knows where. Nobody really knows where the Netherlands are. They're kind of a myth. Norway sounds a lot better. Not Estonia. Do I think that CA could ever do a 40k Total War? They could. It would just be hard. It'd be very different to their normal formula, because I think it adds too many like moving parts into this. All right, they're gonna take a little time to load in here. They are from France. With me being in Southern California, the connection's a little bit funky, so it'll take some time. We're on Altdorf Outskirts with Tomb Kings versus Norska. So, what's your favorite Warhammer Chronicles book? The Sundering or War of Vengeance. Two of my favorite ones. I think if CA were to do 40k, though, like I said, it'd be too many different moving parts. And you just okay. So you think about the formula for a Total War. It takes place on one planet. It takes place on one continent more often than not. So if you take a look at 40k, you have to take the continent system and span it out to a galactic system now. So you can look at stuff like sectors and clusters and portions of did I say sectors already? Yeah, sectors, clusters, and systems. I talked this through with Indie Pride on his video. So you could look at it as like a sector as a continent, and then like a system as a province, and then individual panels as provincial capital or provincial like as systems as provinces to clusters. It's going to be very, very difficult. So I don't know how they'd really do it. Because that alone is going to be so complex. And since... Xiphos has dropped from the game. That's not good. Hopefully they save their builds. There's no screen block over Demos. I don't think he wants to be, Crumb. He's more than invited, though. As always. But Games Workshop tends to not want people to overlap their IPs. And I don't think, since we already have Gothic Armada 2, I don't think that we'd have anything else outside of that. Like, I don't think that they would put naval battles into Total War Warhammer 40,000, and that's a huge part of it. Where's the doggo? The doggo is downstairs. This is a green screen, and the doggo would just knock that fucking thing over. Reym said I hacked him and won the game. So we lost Xiphos. He's coming back in. Hopefully he has his army memorized, or at least saved. Just Alt F4 cheat. I think you should deduct a point from Xiphos. I'm already on a time crunch. I put a pretty like tight time limit on these games, so this is pushing my limit. Oh, Thamwar, he was ready. His computer crashed. They're just loading in here now. Very convenient crash. All right. So they have now loaded in. We're all good to go. Let's let them set their armies up, and we should be all set. Cohen, I'm not sure. Probably not for a long time, to be totally honest. Everyone likes those head-to-heads, and I really enjoy doing them, but they're very stressful. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. Seeing a lot of people's comments while we're doing those head-to-heads is, like, extremely off-putting, too, because it's like I always say, yeah, sure. You talk a big game about being really good at the game. Go play against her and see how it goes. It's not too fun. But let's take a look at our Tomb Kings. So, we can see that we've got some skeleton warriors here in the very front, lining up. As far as our leadership goes, we've got Arkin the Black here. Look at that chariot action going for Arkin. Then we've got two Tomb Princes, which are going to be great little guards here for him. They have really great AP. They've got good anti-large. So if any of the larger beasts or feral mammoths of Norska come charging down range, they can help put those things under quite quickly. Now, in addition to that, we have some skeleton spearmen that'll again help out with any larger beastie boys, and the Blessed Legion of Fakaf and skeleton archers, in addition to two tomb scorpions and 2 units of Aryan. Looking over here at Norska, a nice front line of marauders. You don't need super elite infantry when you're dealing with Tomb King's frontline infantry, but you do have marauder berserkers like Boots of the Hound, some marauder champions here as well, and another unit of marauder berserkers, supported of course by marauder hunters with javelins. These guys will be really great to help take it down in the larger constructs of a Tomb King army. They do have anti-large. They do have anti-large. Then in addition, you've got some skin wolves, also having anti-large on them. Nice frenzy, and they have regeneration, which is great here. Throg with regeneration, good chunk of anti-large and AP damage, and frostbite, able to slow down any of those bigger, heavier models too as well. And lastly, a Famir Bale Fiend with his lore of I thought we just lost the game again. Famir with the lore of fire, has AP, has that Sunder armor, all those great characteristics. How much AP do javelins have? Let's take a look. I don't know off the top of my head. It's 7 missile AP. Alright. Ooh, did not mention these skeleton horseman archers. That'll get some good picks off. Going for a good target here in these Boots of the Hound. Boots of the Hound have a really low armor here. Ooh, look at that. Fireball tracking. Oh, right into the ground. Reym is doing a really good job here of kind of just poking at him poking at Xiphos and keeping him kind of at range while he moves the rest of his army over in this situation. Now this nice little block of Tomb Kings will kind of help pick apart the army as it kind of spreads into 2 separate factions, pursuing all these Norskin horse archers as well as these carrion. And I mean, when you take a look at these marauders, they're not going to deal well with getting shot by all that stuff together. Archers trying to just pick apart some marauders here, doing what they can. Oh, a good charge in here. Skin Wolf is going right for this Tomb Scorpion, which is a great option. They're trying to lock this thing down as fast as possible. Hunters choosing that as their target as well, but Hunters also getting shot apart. They have 0 armor. So even the low damage of the Blessed Legion of Fakov will still do quite a bit to them. Screening out that Tomb Scorpion through the Skeleton Warriors. The Skin Wolves are going to have to push back here. As you can see, these Skeleton Horseman Archers have just been shooting the entire game. They don't have the most damage. They don't have any special characters to attach their damage, but they still have been doing damage. And as you can see, the rest of the armies are making contact here. Tomb Scorpions helping to slap apart some of these Marauders on this flank. You've got the Marauder Champions. I almost keep wanting to say Chieftains. Going to be a Flaming Head eating through this entire unit. They're just moved back in time to dodge the majority of the blast, hitting it initially, still doing about 50% damage to them, and actually clipping a little bit of those Marauder Champions as well. As you can see here, I mean, these 2 Tomb Princes will actually put quite the hurt on Throg. Throgwave will be able to dish it back though, so be quite interesting. Throg coming in here for this Tomb Scorpion, trying to slap it around, get those Marauder Berserkers onto a more valuable target. The Tomb Princes, though, going for these Skin Wolves, trying to neutralize them as much as possible, pushing the Blessed Legion of Fakov back as well. Getting the Famir Balefine into melee. Xiphos is just kind of trying to do what he can. There's so much archery play coming out here from the Horseman Archers. Summon up from Arkin the Blades, Tomb Blade, getting these Skeleton Warriors into the fight here, just help mucking up these Skin Wolves even more. As you can see, you have these things already rampaged, the Marauder Berserkers. They were able to take out, or Throg was able to take out that Tomb Scorpion, and you have some Ushapti help clipping up these Berserkers, but we should see how things kind of play out here. You do have the Skin Wolves on Arkin the Black, and this is such a pivotal shot here, because as you can see, Throg is coming in. He's ready for that ass. And if these things are able to really take out Arkin, this will push pretty heavily in Xiphos' favor. Liber Mortis has kicked off to give a nice 44% melee resistance, but everything here is going to be doing quite a bit of damage to him. Oh no, he's in a bad place! No, Hendrik, I am not. Oh, look at him, he's being hunted down. Oh, and he pops! His horse is going ass over teacups into the Nether there. Oh, I just missed this Flaming Skull as it really kind of went wild is what it looks like. Not doing as much damage to Blessed Legion. Holy man. Arkin was just popped heavy there. But Xiphos wasn't able to pull ahead very huge in the balance of power. It looks like it's actually more in his favor, but not by a large margin. As we can see, there's still quite a bit of Tomb Kings on the field here with not as much Norskin actual infantry. The big thing is going to be taking care of these tomb princes, putting them out of commission as fast as possible now. Grog's got his next target. He's taking apart this Tomb Scorpion. Each hit is just chunking out that health. Real great target for him. Oh, and Reym has jumped out of the fight. He has bowed down to Xiphos. Xiphos pulling ahead 2-0 in our finals and possibly going 3 unanswered wins and taking it for a ride. I love that. You know what makes it for me is Nick's laugh. Is Nick just like laughing at me, just screeching? Because if you go, he will guarantee laugh anytime. First trilogy about horses only. So Humble Bundle, according to Hendrik, Humble Bundle is doing a thing where you can get the first 3 books of the Horus Heresy for $1. And I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty fucking cool. If you are in any way wondering about the origins of the Horus Heresy or Warhammer 40,000, that's probably a really good start. I'm gonna be starting a video series that covers just the history of the Imperium, starting with like the Dark Age of Technology and the Age of Terra, which is, so currently we're in the Age of Terra, which is non-space, non-faster than light traveling Terrans. Yeah, and the first 3 books, as Black Feathers just mentioned, are decent. Really, the best book here is Warpstone. In my mind, the best 2 books are The First Heretic and Betrayer. Aaron Dembski Bowden can do no wrong. Okay, we'll switch this back while they're kind of while they're changing things up here. You know, Black Feathers, I actually liked the very first one, Descent of Angels. I enjoyed that one a lot. I liked Fear to Tread a lot. There are a lot of really good books in the Horus Heresy series and also a lot of bad books, but I ever think like the bad books are not, they're bad because they weren't crazy good for me. I still think the bad books are still pretty good. A lot of people are extremely critical of Black Library authors. I think that's just kind of hogwash. It's supposed to be over the top sci-fi fluff. Like, calm down. It's supposed to be just kind of weird and shitty. Also, Metal R, Robo Guilliman, Magnus Red, Metal Russ. Oh, nice. So all the Primarch books you're saying, Hendrik? Have I started painting? Yeah, I have, Joe. All right, so Reym is doing vampire counts. We're going to see what Xiphos picks. I'm going to take a look at what we're talking about with these books here. It's just a digital version of the books, right? Yeah, Mechanicus I'm not really ever interested in. Mechanicus is kind of boring in my mind. Yeah, here you go, guys. I don't mind linking this. I don't have any like Humble Bundle like affiliate links or any of that kind of shit, so you can go ahead and head there if you're interested in any of that Horus Heresy stuff. Which chapter thing? I'm still doing my Carmine Blades, so white helmets and white shoulder pad lining. Dark Age Machine Men Imperium built, the Iron Men or the Stone Men? Depends on which one you're talking about, Major. Iron Men are like fully functional, self-reliant AI, like in the way that we're kind of supposed to be scared about AI. Major Moolah, I'm actually going to do them when I talk about the Dark Age of technology. Brutal beating by beans. I'm just not a huge fan of Mechanicus. I don't like the whole, like, oh, we quaffed in binary at someone. Like, huh? These aren't books, though. These are digital versions of the books, right? Which, I mean, they're still books, but I love holding books. Yeah, there's the Gold Men, the Stone Men, and the Iron Men. The Gold Men are supposed to be like the superior race of humans that is like prevalent now. Stone Men are like precursors to Iron Men, and Iron Men are these self-sufficient, self-reliant artificial intelligence that took over. That there was a huge war between the two. It's suspected that the Dark Age of technology of humanity was so much vastly better than every other Xenos faction out there that they just had like non-aggression pacts and actually like trade treaties with like the Eldar and a lot of other people, because they're like, man, these guys are serious. Oh, Stormcasts. No, I haven't started painting those. Unfortunately, Luke, there's no Tyranid books from the perspective of Tyranids. There's only perspective of like Ultramarines. Like there's the book Ultramar or whatever, Warriors of Ultramar. That's a good one. That's a good one because it kind of like chronicles a lictor getting into like the back line of a hive city and doing a lot of damage. You can read the Devastation of Baal, which has to do with a lot of Tyranids inviting and fighting Baal, almost all the way down to like all the special characters and like 2 men. Like they kill almost every single Blood Angel. So Fat Ass Frodo, Big E wasn't around leading humanity during the Dark Age of technology. He came in during the Age of Strife, and the Emperor too wasn't like. Sure, he knows a lot of the technology, but it can't be replicated because a lot of that technology has been scrubbed clean during the Age of Strifes, many conflicts. What happened was you've got Terra as this, like, you know, the hub of humanity during the Dark Age of technology. And after the Age of Strife and the Warpstones shutting down everything, there was no warp travel between any location. You had this humongous civil war, then a huge, like, basically, like, essentially like a nuclear holocaust, and then rolling everything back to almost like a feudal, like, wasteland of techno-barbarians, what they're called. Kind of a cool name, right? They all just, like, fucking, like, the techno-Viking. Rolling everything back, and that's when the Emperor is like, all right, I'll step forward. The Emperor was alive during the Dark Age of technology, but the STC's standard template constructs, for the most part, are just kind of lost to the wind. Every so often, the civilizations of the Imperium will find them here and there, and it's a huge milestone. Like, you look at stuff like all the Gloriana-class battlecruisers. There's no technology to make those anymore. The STCs are gone. So they have to find the STCs to be able to make some of the older ships of the Gothic Armada. All those ships, for the most part, they can't be rebuilt. All right, so waiting in. Genestealer cults are kind of weird, man. They're kind of got a weird, convoluted history. Warpstone of Fantasy does not have a connection to the warp of 40k. Okay, so here's what we got. We have Xiphos on the Empire versus Vampire Counts being played by Reym here. We can see that Karl Franzia is leading the Empire. A big front line, it looks like. Just kind of scattered up, not much rhyme or reason. We have some halberdiers in the center portion protecting this kind of back line of your silver bullets, of your handgunners. Then we have a reserve line of great swords with a front line of spearmen and swordsmen. You also have 2 units of demigryphs with halberds on the left and right sides, followed, of course, by a Jade Wizard. And this is, again, a very thematic matchup, you know. So taking a look here, we've got Skeleton Warriors, Graveguard, Crypt Ghouls, Cairn Wraiths, Crypt Ghouls, Cairn Wraiths, Crypt Ghouls, and Graveguard. Followed, of course, by 2 Skeleton Warriors in the very front and a flank out of Skeleton Warriors. 2 units of Blood Knights as the only means to put any kind of anti-large damage in, and one of my favorite units in the game, so let's get a close-up of them. Look at that Vargulf head on his arm. What a fucking badass. And do we see Manfred on a Nightmare? Oh no, just a Lamian Vampire Lord on a Nightmare. We don't see this too often here, but she's got a lot of abilities to kind of like get in and out of combat quickly. So Seduction is a reduction to attack speed and to the speed of a target, while Lightning Reflexes gives her a massive increase to her speed and her damage resistance. In addition, we have Scepter of Stability for her magic resistance, which isn't going to be too huge here. Enfeebling Foe, Raise Dead, and Invocation of Nehek for her. I'm stoked to see the Cairn Wraith, so we don't see these too often. But they have made an appearance here today. You can see that they have their nice ethereal stats. So 75% physical resistance. They've got AP and magic damage in addition to that. We also see just a Necromancer here to act as a battery. Not even any spells on this Necromancer. Just simply a Winds of Magic battery with the Forbidden Rod. Master of Dead giving that replenishment to those units as they get in the front line. Let's see how this gets going here, huh? Where is this Shigoi Love? Best Foot Lord. Fellbat, Vargulf, Potato. Karl Franz is just going right for the Lamian Vampire. Trying to get that Alpha Strike in there. There's nothing else to contest him in the air. And you can see that these handgunners are moving. Oh, Free Company Militia over here. Our Sterling's Revenge are moving in to do some damage. Sterling's Revenge are a really good choice here because if you summon any zombies onto them... Oh, man! Missing all their shots. Shucking and jiving the way through the line. Getting a summon right there. Sterling's Revenge can actually fight their way through any kind of zombie summons quite quickly. That's why they're a little bit more common of a pick. Oh man, Demigryph Halberds going right in here against these, against the Blood Knights. Franzia jumping onto the Lamian Vampire Lord, who also casts Seduction. Foeseeker, Reichlin, Moonpain, and Galmaraz all kicked off here. Xiphos is looking to just 1-2 stomp this Lamian Vampire Lord. This is for the kit and caboodle here. If Xiphos wins this match, he wins the finals. If he loses, well, then it goes on to another one. You can see the left flank has got some pretty concerted effort over here, but majority of the fight is being focused right here on this Lamian Vampire Lord. Demigryph Halberds coming in here onto these Blood Knights, being chomped up. Karl Franz has actually abandoned the attack on Lamian Vampire to neutralize these Blood Knights. Invocation of Heck overcasted and casted onto the Blood Knights as well as the Lamian Vampire Lord. I think we just missed the Graveguard there. You can see here that these guys are just kind of prodding to the back line, looking for some good targets here. The Cairn Wraiths, the Silver Bullets can actually do quite a bit of damage to them because they have magic damage, so their physical resistance is going to be eaten up by that pretty well. Zombies attacking with these Spearmen here, and as you can see, this Necromancer is just doing some health onto these Cairn Wraiths, keeping them in the fight pretty well. Lamian Vampire Lord is over here by the Jade Wizard. Karl Franz sees his new target though and is going right for it again. You have another Invocation, or is that that was Earthblood? Yeah, Earthblood going off, healing some action into these Spearmen and to those Great Swords, keeping them in the fight, doing a lot of damage into them. The Silver Bullets are doing a really good job of staying in that fight and not getting pulled down by these zombies. Oh, one unit of Cairn Wraiths completely popped. Blood Knights, interestingly enough, Xiphos is just dropping Karl Franz into them to kind of interrupt their charges, making so they can't do any kind of action. Xiphos is doing a really good job of kind of lancing his cavalry in and out of where it needs to be. You can see that this unit of Demigryph Knights has completely destroyed everything over here, including summons and Blood Knights, and is moving over to help out Karl Franz. Karl Franz is now beleaguered with the Lamian Vampire as well, and they're getting quite a bit of damage on him. Enfeebling Foe as well as Foeseeker is on him. Foeseeker is going to help him try to get out of that, but looks like a summon is coming in of some more zombies to both catch up these Silver Bullets and help screen out the charge here. But I think that these Demigryph Halberds are going to be able to get over there and help out. A good heal coming off from that Earthblood. Overcasted too. Karl Franz really needed it. He was at about half health, but now that it's just pretty much him and the Lady Lamia, it's going to be pretty brutal here. What a weird helmet. Oh man, she's getting out there. She's using... Oh, I thought she used her Shuck and Jive move. Miraz, seduction on him again. Silver bullets shooting right into the Lamian Vampire, getting a good charge onto her, or onto them, and shutting them down for a little bit. Oh man! And Reym ducks out of this one, giving the win to Xiphos, 3-0 in the finals here. Whew! That was a pretty brutal one. Both had really awesome builds. The really fun thing about Xiphos and Reym is they're pretty high-level players, and they bring a lot of fun builds that are a little bit different here. Xiphos' build, for the most part, was a very good, very structured vampire build, or build against vampire. And the vampire build of Reym was also very fun, though. It had a lot of carrying rates. It had a lot of different things you don't typically see. So I really enjoyed all their matchups and their fun stuff. I'm just saying, good game to the guys. 3-0 for Xiphos. And that is going to bring things to an end here today. Xiphos moves ahead, pulling off a win and grabbing a Warpstone token. That'll put him as our third winner in our Warpstone Cup here. We'll have our fourth winner next week, hopefully after our fourth game. But guys, thank you so much for watching here today. We're going to go ahead and wrap the stream up. Huge shout out to all of our players here today and people that subbed in and really kind of helped make this one get together. We're so helpful. Thank you guys so much. Sorry I've been a little scatterbrained today. This fucking rain, man. Means better stream than Total War's official account today. Ooh. Oh man, Cruz, that sucks. I'll tell my bros at CA. Great game, great commentary. Had buckets of fun. Thank you, Spartacus. Well, thank you, Major Mullen. Thanks for joining in, man. But guys, as always, let's go ahead and switch this over to here. Let's run those credits. Boop. There I go. But guys, thanks again so much, and thank you very much to the donation. Where was it? Not on my thing here anymore. I have to go back to this. To Matt Smith, thank you very much for your donation today, man. Really appreciate it. We have a ton of subscriptions during this one, but a lot of really fun going on here. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching here today. Tomorrow, we're going to be streaming Chaos Bane. If you want to watch and finally get in on some of the action for Darkest Dungeon, we'll be probably streaming that on Friday or Saturday. I haven't really decided when, so do get on that. But tomorrow, we'll be playing some Chaos Bane here on the channel. Back out on that. There we go. We'll play up some Chaos Bane on the channel here tomorrow. And let me see if there's anything else I missed. Next week, boys and girls. You too, Sparty. Joe, thanks for joining in, man. It's insanely good. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. Have a good one and take care.